NBC Sports welcomes you to California for NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing, presented by McDonald's. A hot, sunny, windy day in Fontana. 43 drivers getting ready for 500 miles on this 2-mile track. Four-time series champion Jeff Gordon, 10th in the standings, hoping to make the chase for the Nextel Cup. Right behind him in the standings, Matt Kenseth, a big win at Bristol. Can Matt go back-to-back and win here at California after winning last Saturday night? Dale Earnhardt Jr., one win in what has been a disappointing season. Mathematically alive for the chase, but would need a small miracle to get there. Labor Day weekend, a time to share with family and friends, and many have come here to Fontana to watch the stars of NASCAR. Let's join the pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise and remove your hats as the California Highway Patrol Inland Division Color Guard presents our nation's colors. And will you please remain standing as Tim Griffin from Motor Racing Outreach delivers today's invocation.
Thank you, O God, for the privilege of being here today. Please watch over each fan, crewman, and driver in this race. We also would like to ask you to strengthen those in Louisiana and Mississippi that were affected by the hurricane last week. Our hearts go out to them. May they sense your strength and peace this day. Give wisdom to those arranging support and care for the people of that region. And finally, let us each express a concern for our neighbor in this time that will honor you. God bless America. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Hollywood Records recording artist and rad messenger Josh Kelly as he performs today's national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bomb bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, yeah, and the home of the brave.
On this Labor Day weekend, the emotions of racing mixed with the emotions of life. Tonight, we compete not in spite of the challenges of the past week, but inspired by them. First, we remember, then we race. The command is coming up from the California Speedway. NBC Sports is live at the California Speedway for NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing, presented by McDonald's. Two events remain in the race to the chase, and tonight we move 500 miles closer to deciding the drivers that will compete for the 2005 championship. Hi, everybody. Bill Weber along with Wally Dullaback and Benny Parsons. Hopefully you're enjoying the Labor Day weekend. Thanks for having us in for the race. For the next 12 weeks, you get 2 races rolled into one. And for the next 2 races, we determine who makes the chase for the Nextel Cup. Guys racing for the win, but guys also racing to get into that chase. And Benny, a playoff atmosphere at this track.
Oh, it's fantastic. You know, every sport has a playoff, and now racing has their version. In most sports, there's a home field advantage. But here we have all 43 cars racing on the same field, when no one has a real advantage. And this is a great racetrack to decide who's going to make the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup. It's why these cars should not run into each other. They really don't have any excuse not to have a good finish.
Well, Wally, you were in the Busch race last night, and you had 43 competitors, 42 cars, and the sun.
The sun was tough last night. It really was. And I thought, well, after about 10 laps, the sun will go down and won't be so bad. Well, 70 laps later, it was still really bad. And what a lot of guys do, they'll put tape on the windshield. Last night, I had a clear visor, a light smoke visor, and we put these tear-offs on. This way, when it gets too dark, you can just pull a tear-off. Like I hear, I've got one of these visors here, and all you do is you just rip it off, and you're in clear. The problem with that was last night, it got so dark the rest of the racetrack, and you were still light down the backstretch. In turn 4, I was having to flick my visor up because the shield was so dark. So there's going to be every one of these guys will be complaining about that sun today. Trust me, because it's brutal. You go down into turn 3 and you cannot see. You'll pull out from the guy that you're following just so you can see a little bit. It's very tricky.
You have a plan on how to fix that here at California?
They can fix that. They need to build more grandstands there in turn 3 for about 20,000 people, and that problem will be gone next year.
So more grandstands, and we'll sell more tickets and have more fans at the track.
There you go.
Should be a lot of fun here tonight. We'll watch the sunset, the lights will come up, and the stars of NASCAR will shine here at the California Speedway in Fontana. 90,000 fans on hand at this 2-mile track. 2 races to decide who makes the chase for the 2005 Nextel Cup. Glad you're along for the ride. Let's go back down to trackside.
Race fans, please welcome your Grand Marshal from the hit show on NBC Las Vegas, actor Josh Duhamel, as he delivers those most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Now that's how you give the command at a NASCAR Nextel Cup race. The 43 cars roar to life, and the chase for the Nextel Cup on the line. You're watching the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series live on NBC. The cars have come to life for the Sony HD 500 here at the California Speedway. You see them lined up and ready to roll off of pit road and onto the track. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, is the proud sponsor of the Budweiser Pole Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Nextel Cup Series race. Budweiser congratulates Carl Edwards for this weekend's race. He's the latest Budweiser shootout eligible driver. Good lap for Carl, looking for a big race. Here's the starting field with Carl Edwards on the pole and Mark Martin, his teammate, right next door, and there's a lot of Roush up at the front of this field, Benny.
Row 2, 2 more Roush cars. Kurt Busch on the inside, Greg Biffle on the outside.
But row 3 had their teammates, Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson.
Back in row 4, Casey Kane in a Dodge and J.J. Yaley in the Joe Gibbs Chevrolet.
On the inside of row 5, Brian Vickers on the outside, Scott Riggs, who ran so well at Michigan, second place finish there.
Row 6, good run for Bobby Hamilton Jr. Those guys really need that. Sterling Marlin on the outside.
Jeremy Mayfield, just talked to him a little while ago, winner at this race in the past, and championship leader Tony Stewart.
Elliott Sadler won this race last year on the inside of row 8. Jeff Burton, second place run last week at Bristol.
Jeff Green in the 43 car, and Kevin Harvick trying to turn a little bit of his luck around from last week's Bristol incident.
Same for Michael Waltrip, could use a little good luck. He's in row 10 next to his buddy Kyle Petty.
And in row 11, Dave Blaney and Joe Nemechek, 2 guys who can't catch a break.
Matt Kenseth, last week's winner. Robbie Gordon on the outside of row 12.
Row 13, rising star Kyle Busch. Could he get his first win tonight? We'll see. And Boris Said makes the race here at California, veteran road racer.
Scott Wimmer on the inside of row 14, and Ryan Newman, who desperately needs a good finish on the outside.
Travis Quapple on the inside of row 15. Outside is Bill Elliott driving for Everham.
Row 16, you'll find Kenny Schrader. Right next to him, Tony Raines in the 37 car.
Back in row 17 on the inside, Casey Mears on the outside. Rusty Wallace, his final race here at the California Speedway.
Row 18, a couple guys got good laps in, had to get in on time. Stuart Kirby and Mike Garvey.
Dale Jarrett on the inside of 19. Mike Bliss on the outside.
And back in row 20, you'll see the 21 car. John Wood qualified that car. Ricky Rudd is here. His father passed away this week. John Wood practiced the car and qualified it. Ricky is here and will drop to the back of the field. He starts in row 20. We're qualified. The car was qualified in row 20. Next to Jamie McMurray, Rudd will drop to the back of the pack.
Back in 21st row on the inside, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Bobby Labonte on the outside.
And shotgun on the field, Hermie Sadler in the 43rd starting spot. Well, last night, Wally was in the race and Rusty Wallace was up here talking to him. So let's turn those tables around and get Wally on the radio.
Hey, Rusty, this is Wally in the booth. Can you hear me?
800. That's what I'm showing, 10-4.
How about it, Rusty? This is Wally up in the booth.
Okay, I got a good 4,800 here.
They're checking the RPMs right now so he doesn't speed on pit road.
And he's had that problem before, so he needs to get that settled in.
I know somebody else has had that problem, too. Hey, Rusty, this is Wally up in the booth. Can you hear me?
Man, I got you. Go ahead.
All right, somebody gave me some pretty good advice last night. Down to turn 1 first lap is going to be real slick, so be careful, right?
Boy, you got that right. I think the first lap's going to be a real slick down to 1 and 2. And then, you know, I think it's going to be pretty slick until about 10 laps or to the first pit stop, to tell you the truth. What do you think?
Yeah, it was real slippery. And another thing I see, you got a lot of tape on your windshield, and I was surprised how bad that sun was, how long it was. Do you have a dark visor? You wearing sunglasses? What else are you doing on that?
Right now, I just got the windshield taped down pretty good. I don't have any visors or anything like that. That stuff always seemed to bother me, so I'm just going to have to rough it out here for the first part of the race.
Well, be careful, because it is tough getting into turn 3, but good luck.
All right, thanks a lot.
Rusty Wallace, when he takes the green flag, he clinches a spot in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Getting ready here at California. Final pre-race thoughts from pit road, and we start with Dave Burns.
Bill, Carl Edwards is 8th in the championship, 61 points to the good as far as the chase is concerned. And he starts on the pole today. He needs to lead a lap for 5 bonus points. He's got 3 Roush Racing teammates surrounding him. Will they help him lead a lap? Well, I talked with one of their crew chiefs, and he told me you can expect to see all the Roush cars try to lead 1 lap in the first 10 circuits of this race to all get that 5 points. They're going to cut to the chase and help each other. Marty?
Dave BP said that Ryan Newman desperately needs a good run, and boy, he's not kidding. He is clinging to his spot in the chase, just 31 to the good in the chase right now and starting 28th today. Very uncharacteristic of Ryan. They're going to use some magic from last year. They pulled a car from the corner of the shop that hasn't raced since this race last year. They brought it to this race. They were 10th then in the championship standings and finished 5th. Today, they could use the same good fortune to solidify their spot in the chase. Matt?
Marty, 2 months ago, it looked like Jeff Gordon would have to wait for 2006 for a 5th championship. But last week at Bristol, that 6th place finish propelled him into the top 10. As one driver told me, that could have been the worst thing that could have happened for the rest of us. We're giving Gordon a chance to stay in this chase. 3 wins here at Fontana. He's won twice at Richmond. 2 good racetracks to try to lock him in. It could happen, Alan.
Well, we told you at the top of our broadcast about Matt Kenseth's incredible rally over the summer to come from some 320 points behind the chase to just 11 out of a playoff spot. The key for tonight with Matt Kenseth's team, keep it going, have another top finish, and try and crack that top 10 without leaving it all on the line for next week's race in Richmond. The other key Matt told me just before the race, when the sun goes down, the speeds increase. He hopes his car's handling is good when the sun goes down, that it doesn't bottom out on the racetrack and throw their plans for a good night all in the wastebasket. Bill?
Thanks, guys. Have a great night down there on pit road.
And this is a shot from Earnhardt Jr.'s car. This is not bad.
No, that's not bad at all.
It's going to get a lot worse.
And it's going to stay bad for a long time. It doesn't get dark around here for a couple hours, so.
This race starts about 28 minutes earlier than the race last night. After 24 races, 3 drivers are locked into the chase. Rusty Wallace about to be. 13 more want in. Tonight, 500 miles could determine if your driver's a true contender or just California dreaming. Tommy Lasorda ready to wave the green flag. He knows all about the pressure to make the playoffs. And so will you. NASCAR races from daylight to darkness on NBC. 5 bonus points for Carl Edwards. Now watch the Roush ballet at the front of the field. There goes Mark.
Very well put.
Mark Martin in front, so he will lead a lap, get his 5 bonus points. Then it's Kurt Busch's turn.
Mark in the 6, Kurt Busch in the 97. Teammates along with Carl Edwards.
And there comes Greg Biffle in the 16 going by Kurt Busch. Jimmy Johnson, 48, trying to do the same. Oh, that's Carl Edwards are going by.
Well, they better hurry up if they're going to get each other points.
That's
because
right.
I think the Hendrick team's got something else in mind.
Those two guys, the 24 car.
Oh, trouble!
J.J. Yaley is around into the wall. A lot of traffic behind him. Guys diving for pit road. Caution is out.
Not a surprise to see this. I mean, just because this racetrack is so slippery right now because of the heat just pounding on it all day, bringing the oils out, the air pressures aren't up.
And this is a very inexperienced driver, and we see some damage to this FedEx car in the left rear. He will probably be able to continue, but at a reduced speed.
J.J. Yaley in that car here. Terry Labonte's been in it the last couple of weeks, but Yaley getting the opportunity here.
He's supposed to run this car a couple of times in 2005.
Watch the right-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, he's all by himself, really. I mean, he started getting the car loose, and then I wasn't sure who that was right up behind him, but that didn't help when that car came up behind him on that rear bumper.
That was Casey Kane in the 9 car that squeezed by on the outside.
On board with J.J.
He already mentioned he was sideways. I believe he was already telling his team how loose that car was, and then he spun it.
Matt Yoakum.
Bill, what he said on the radio, the car was tight, and then all of a sudden it jumped out from underneath me. Spotters said, yes, he was tucked up tight behind you. JJ was concerned whether or not the guy got into him or whether he just lost it. Nonetheless, he's going back to the garage.
And he finished 43rd last night, and early problems here. On board with Ryan Newman, one of the guys trying to make the chase for the Nextel Cup. Dives to pit road, follows Kyle Busch. Mark Martin got his 5 bonus points for leading a lap under caution early at California. Field is coming to get the green flag. Here are the unofficial results from last night's NASCAR Cup Series race at California, won by Carl Edwards, who started this race on the pole. Biffle finished second. And a look at the championship standings after 27 of the 35 races. Clint Boyer cut that lead down to 142 points. Pace vehicle to pit road, and Mark Martin brings the field. Check that.
You're right.
Yes, Mark Martin brings him to the flag.
Mark Martin, Kurt Busch, and Greg Biffle. Now it's Kurt Busch's turn to lead.
Martin and Busch, Biffle, Edwards, all Roush teammates. So now the goal is to get Kurt his 5 bonus points.
He'll get them, and then Biffle will go. Then he'll have to wait for Matt to get up there, I guess.
That was Stuart Kirby in the 51 car you saw slow on the apron, just leaving pit road.
Jeff Gordon in the 24 inside of Mark Martin. Jimmy Johnson, his Hendrick teammate, behind the 24.
You really, when you're on the inside, you really need to have enough momentum getting through turn 4 to be able to slide up in front of a guy to make the pass. If not, the outside line is usually faster because guys are lined up drafting.
Okay, now let's see if Biffle can close in on the 97. As Biffle needs to get around Kurt Busch, get out front, get his 5 bonus points. And then the Roush guys have done what they set out to do, get all 4 guys 5 bonus points in the opening laps.
Brian Vickerson, 25, trying to get by Casey Kane in the 9.
On board with Tony Stewart, championship leader. Gordon on the inside there.
Looks like he's going to be able to get by Mark Martin, take that spot away.
Greg Biffle is pedaling like heck trying to catch Kurt Busch. There they go.
Well, they need to do it now.
Right.
There's enough room in between them that they can get away with it with no harm. But
Casey Kane in the 9. Had Tony Stewart on his bumper. Busch and Biffle. Kurt just didn't want to give up the lead.
looked like Biffle was just a little bit loose. The car trying to spin out as he came off turn 4. Tony Stewart, the 20 car. Whoa! Oh, Vickers didn't like that when the 40 car of Sterling Marlin drove it behind him.
Well, Vickers looks like he's a little bit loose. I saw that early in the race. His car looked real twitchy. So if Sterling pulled up on his bumper, it got real loose.
You can see the colors at the ticker at the top of the screen. Yellow, the guys on the bubble. Red, guys that are eliminated from their chance to make the chase. Green, guys currently in the top 10.
And that will change as the night progresses.
You bet it will. Kurt Busch continues to lead. Biffle has not gotten his 5 bonus points yet. We watch the action on the track and check in with Marty Snyder.
And Bill, a young, disappointed J.J. Yaley here in the garage early. What happened?
Definitely not the day we wanted for the FedEx Freight guys. You know, I was just riding along there, just taking it easy. We had a game plan, and you know, I don't know if the I think it was a 9 car. I don't know if he just tucked way up underneath me if it got into me, but just got loose coming off the 4 there, and you know, fortunately we didn't take him in with us, but definitely caught me by surprise. Car was actually a little bit tight, so just going to make a long day. We needed a good run for points, and this wasn't the way to do it.
Yeah, that's tough because he had a very good race car today.
This is an impound race. The car is practiced, then qualified, and the teams could only make minor adjustments. Here's Greg Biffle in the 16, around his teammate Kurt Busch, and Biffle will try and lead the field to the line and get his 5 bonus points.
I don't think it's going to take too much to do that.
Nope. Biffle is locked into the chase for the Nextel Cup, but every position in that top 10 worth 5 valuable points after Richmond.
That's right, because 1 starts at 0 and second is 5 points minus 10, 15. 10th place car is minus 50 starting. So you're right, Bill. Every position is valuable.
Yeah, he's minus 45. They go back by 5, so the guy in 10th will start 45 points behind. Marty.
Bill, in the team meeting this morning, Jimmy Finning told the guys it is a big picture day. Let's ride in the top 10, lead if we can, but let's not force the issue until late in the race. Matt?
Now, Mark Martin had a lot of conversations under the last yellow with Pat Trice, and the big concern, he says there is a lot of trash on the racetrack. Not as bad as Michigan last month, but he says there is trash out there. Keep an eye on the grill. Water temperatures are fine. We may have to do some cleaning of that grill on our first stop.
And we saw that problem at Michigan. Dave talked about it in the pre-race show.
Well, let's just, if we can stay on Mark's car here, let's see what the sun looks like right now. Now, of course, this is, you know, up on the roof, but this is how it looks. Really, this is how it looked yesterday, and as that sun sets, it's going to get worse. It's going to be more straight on to the driver's shield, so that's not trick photography.
And when you saw those billboards there's where Wally said they need some grandstands to get that elevated to block the sun.
Wally will help with the groundbreaking tomorrow. Biffle leads, then Busch, Edwards. Tony Stewart worked his way up to the 4th position. Mark Martin in the 6th. Top 5 finish gets him into the chase for the Nextel Cup.
And Tony Stewart started 14th.
Well, he's in that car that he won Indianapolis with, and they put that car on the track. It goes to the front.
It does. It loves the front.
So Stewart marching forward, trying to catch the Roush guys. Biffle and Busch up front. Greg Biffle locked into the chase for the Nextel Cup, trying to get back to victory lane. Can he win at California? We'll see. You're watching NASCAR Live on NBC. 90,000 fans here at the California Speedway watching Greg Biffle, the race leader, by about a half a second over Kurt Busch. One of his teammates, Matt Kenseth, the winner last week at Bristol.
Man, he is struggling. The 17 car has fallen back to the 23rd spot.
But there might be a reason for that. Dave, what do you know?
Well, and he restarted actually in 23rd on that last restart, VP, so he's really staying right where he is. He did have a conversation with his spotter, Mike Kalanoff, about how he wants to help him through that sun glare in turn 3.
Mike, think right now it's not bad, but all the way down the backstretch, as you get straight on the backstretch all the way until you get turned about halfway into 3, that can be able to see very good. So if something happens like an entry 3 especially, is going to be the hairy part where you try to get a point and getting in there. It's going to be real tough to see. Just try to keep your eyes open for that part as much as you can.
Now they're watching his car very closely as he continues to go backwards. At lap 10, he did get into the wall. He didn't think he hurt his car, but the car really wants to push toward the wall now. It's got a handling issue.
Matt Kenseth, 11 in the championship standings.
You know, I think that tape helps a little bit, guys, but I think the guys that put the tape on their car, BP, and either aren't wearing sunglasses or something dark visor, they're going to really have trouble because that sunset's so low over there, it comes straight into the windshield.
Matt?
Now, Bill, this is exactly what Mark Martin had at Darlington, very similar to what Wally used last night. An amber lens with tear-offs like in the open wheel cars. Now, he's trying something different this weekend here in Fontana. It's more like prescription sunglasses. Now, as the sun is the brightest, this will be dark, but as the sun goes down in the sky, it transitions lighter and lighter. That way, he doesn't have to deal with trying to pull a tear-off off. Now, he tried it Friday night and liked it. Several other drivers are trying to do racing optic setup to see if they like it. Might use it later in the season as well.
Interesting, Matt. Thanks a lot. Now that 42 car of Jamie McMurray, he pitted under the caution, and he restarted 40th, and McMurray has worked his way up to 26th.
All those cars stopped. Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, Jamie McMurray, all those folks stopped, changed 4 tires because last night in the NASCAR Cup Series race, we found out new tires, fresh tires, are very, very important to speed.
Yes, that is very true. I don't think you'll see any 2-tire stops. I'd be surprised if you did. 4 tires mean a lot. Here's another guy that's been going backwards, BP. He's at 24.
He's battling with Harvick for the 10th spot. Alan?
Yeah, Jeff Gordon has been calling in on his radio about every 2 laps, Bill. He says that as soon as he turns the wheel into the corner, the back end of the car breaks loose, and he jumps sideways. He said he can't get in the gas at all, can't carry any speed in the corner. He started 6th. He's fallen outside the top 10 as we move along here.
And he almost wrecked here, Alan.
And that's what we've seen with the 24 car here in Michigan. These kind of semi-flat racetracks with a lot of speed, they really struggle trying to find that speed.
Those are the championship standings. Again, Stewart, Biffle, Johnson, Rusty Wallace now locked in. Wallace locked in when he took the green flag.
And see, Gordon doesn't want to be around anybody right now because his car is so loose.
Caution.
Caution on the track. The caution flag is out.
Got a smoker coming off turn 4.
I guarantee you that 24 will be hitting the pit lane.
Mike Garvey in 66 was smoking as he made the exit off turn 4. Rick Monroe trying to look into turn 4 and see the cars.
Now, another thing is a lot of those guys came in BP earlier, well, I don't know, about 10 laps ago, 12 laps ago, whatever. 10, 12 laps on your tires makes a big difference here as well.
Well, they'll all be in this time, I'm pretty sure. And some of those guys that stopped early, do you think they'll stay out for track position?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they shouldn't because we did that last night and I got passed on both sides. So tires mean a lot here, and I think if you just have 10 laps on your tires, that's not good enough.
So that's 17 laps. 17 green flag laps.
They need to come in and change tires, so they're going to get passed by a lot of cars.
There's Stuart Kirby, the winner of the Ballpark Lucky Dog Award, the highest scored car not on the lead lap. So Stewart, the young driver, gets a break. Gets to come around and be back on the lead lap. The Ballpark Lucky Dog Award to Stuart Kirby.
Bowling Green, Kentucky.
So the cars down the backstretch. Biffle, Busch, Edwards, Tony Stewart, and Mark Martin, the top 5. And I imagine pit road will be a very busy place. 41 cars on the lead lap. Kirby will come around and make it 42.
Pit road is open, so we will see. But I agree with you, Wally. If they don't pit now, something's wrong.
And you have to make sure you get the windshield clean, don't you?
Yes, and I think they usually give the extra man pretty early in this race. They did last night.
And the extra man can service the driver, right, and clean the windshield. And we have just heard, as Wally predicted, they already have the extra man. Try and clean that windshield and help with that glare and that sunlight down the backstretch.
Looks to me like that Jamie McMurray has decided to stay out
Wow, is he going to be in for a big surprise when they throw the green?
But
I'm sorry, that's Stuart Kirby. Yeah,
Okay.
Dave.
Kevin Harvick said, I don't need much. They're just going to make a slight air pressure adjustment. His car said it turns a little bit too well off the corners. Marty.
Kurt Busch in the 97 car, middle of your screen, says his car's a little bit tight. Up one round of the track bar, a pound in the right rear tire, and some water for Kurt. Matt.
2 tear-offs already taken off Greg Biffle's Ford. Chassis adjustment already completed. Lacking overall grip. He was looking at moving up a half a lane, Alan. He's down and away.
Carl Edwards, who started on pole, going to take 4 tires. They've already had the wedge wrench in and out of the left rear side of the car, trying to help get a little more grip with the back end of the car off the corner. And that race off pit road is close.
Well, Bill, guess you know that Roush ballet at the front of the field?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's being played out again. Matt Kenseth, another Roush car. His team decided to stay out and lead a lap right now to get those 5 bonus points, which they did while everyone was pitting. They will now come around and pit the car, take care of their business. Now they've led a lap.
And Matt will have to restart way at the back of the field. Here's the race off of pit road. Greg Biffle beats Edwards. The field charging into turn 1 at California after just taking a green flag on the restart. Greg Biffle is the race leader. Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, and Mark Martin.
Big push for the 16 car Greg Biffle that time. He may lose a spot because of it.
Matt Kenseth stayed out to lead, got 5 bonus points, but restarted 38th.
There he goes, Carl Edwards. Oh, Carl sliding up the racetrack.
I thought Biffle was going to drive on the outside, and the 99 needed some room, but Carl Edwards goes in front. Looks like Busch is going to follow.
Kurt Busch in that 97 car on the inside of Greg Biffle in the 16 on board with Edwards.
There again, if you get down on the inside, it's really tough, but it looks like Greg Biffle's going to give him a little bit of a break, and Kurt Busch falls into second. They lose third here.
It's Jimmy Johnson. Yep.
When you change tires and put on 4 tires, it's not a guarantee that your car's going to be like it was before. Sometimes it can be an adventure.
I think Biffle wants to the bottom of the racetrack, too. He's up there on that high side. Car's probably a little bit tighter even up there.
They're battling for the 3rd position.
Tony Stewart kind of waiting to see.
Oh! Wow. I think 16's a little bit loose, trying to spin out. Matt Yoakum.
BP, he is just trying to hang on right now. Be patient. Now, what's the worst racetrack on the circuit to eat up tires?
Darlington.
You are correct. Greg Biffle says this may be the 2nd worst. He says, but not like chewing them up like cheese grater, but wearing the good part out. He did that last night in the Busch race. He said he learned you've got to be patient and save those tires for later in the run. He's just trying to hold on right now.
He's not doing a very good job if you're saving them. He's sliding all over the place.
And that can make a bad situation worse with the tires.
But like Matt said, Scott Riggs smoking on it. Must be a fender.
Jeff Gordon runs 16th, Alan.
Yeah, Bill, Jeff is feeling his car might be a little too, well, sensitive. Listen.
So sensitive getting in, I can't touch the brakes or turn the wheel or anything, and you know, then when I touch the gas, it just wants to spin out. Just nothing off the left rear drive.
Jeff came on the radio just the 1st lap of racing after that pit stop, guys, and said, my car is loose already. And they had just made a stop and adjusted it.
Yeah, you can see that.
Exactly when he was talking about it, you could see it.
Yep.
And Ryan Newman, the 12 and the 24. Jeff Gordon, 2 cars that are battling for that 10th position to qualify for the chase of the NASCAR Nextel Cup.
And when you're looking through the windshield and you see a guy tugging on the wheel and you see the hands going left to right, that's because you're trying to you're trying to catch the car from going sideways. You turn the wheel, the car starts going sideways, you feed the steering wheel back to the right to save it. When you do that like 10 or 15 times in a corner, that's really loose.
And you're going how fast?
Pretty fast.
Yeah, around 200 or so, yeah. That's a handful.
Hey guys, Ryan Newman says his car was tight on that first one, especially in 1 and 2. Air pressure, track bar, and wedge, trying to get that car handling a little bit better. Going down the backstretch, he talked about the sun. He's wearing a clear visor, and he squints when he's going down the backstretch. But Wally, he said there's a gentleman's agreement going into turn 3. You don't take a lot of room, you just keep your line.
Yeah, you're exactly, Marty, because you have to be careful. You can't see. Well, there you have it. I mean, you really can't see, so you're almost feeling your way getting down into turn 3. So you don't try to make too much of an aggressive move right now. You just try to give each other a lot of space.
Newman restarted 30th, up to 17th. Let's take a lap with him, Wally.
Hey, you drive into the corners really, really deep here. Roll out of the throttle. You let the car just roll, roll, roll. Then you start picking up the gas a little bit. And then you try to go full throttle as fast as you can. And it's the same exact thing going into turn 3.
And run in the middle of the racetrack because you really can hardly see the outside wall or other cars that might be around you. Now, this situation, as the sun starts setting and it turns into night, this problem will go away, obviously.
Yeah. But it gets worse before it gets better.
It does get worse, yes.
Marty?
Hey, Wally, when you don't have all your senses, you use what you can. Ryan says when you can't see, you use your ears. He knows about where the RPM should be when he hits the end of the backstretch, and that's when he lets off. He uses ears to tell him when he's letting off and going into 3.
Marty, only Newman would come up with that.
He's an engineer, though, you know. He's trying to be human here.
Exactly right. Carl Edwards won last night. Can he sweep both races at California? He did it at Atlanta earlier this year. 38 laps are complete in the Sony HD 500, and Carl Edwards continues to lead.
It looks like Carl Edwards is very busy inside that car. He's the leader, but it looked like he had his hands full as he came off turn 2.
And we were talking about Ryan Newman. And going down the backstretch looking into the sun. There you go, Wally.
Yep, and he's got a clear visor, and you can see how much the sun is shining in his eyes.
I can't believe how close he sits to the steering wheel. All these guys anymore, that steering wheel just right up against their chest.
These cars are hard to drive. You need a lot of leverage driving one of these cars.
He obviously has the clear visor because he feels like that he's not comfortable with any other system. When it gets dark tonight, he wants good visibility.
I'd like to ask him that after the race, if he thinks that was the right decision. He drives with his hands a little differently than some guys.
I've noticed the way he's holding the steering wheel. You know, he's got his, he just sits in the car and he drives it with his arms, he drives it with his hands. Now, a lot of guys, including myself, I'll get to the steering wheel where I'll have my elbow on the steering wheel as well. That helps you turn the car. It helps leverage the car. But I notice Newman doesn't do that. He's just turning it with his hands and his upper body. Now here you look at Jeff Burton. See how he's got his elbow? He hooks his elbow on the steering wheel. That actually in the corner, because it's throwing you in the corner, you lean on the steering wheel and it actually helps you turn the steering wheel. You turn the steering wheel with not only your hand, but with your elbow, your shoulder, and your whole upper body.
And you'll hear these drivers talk about doing a lot of upper body work with weights and stuff like that, and that helps in this situation. Burton currently runs 15th.
And Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, has fallen back to the 33rd position.
He's also fallen back to 13th in the championship standings, which puts Matt Kenseth in right now and Jeff Gordon out.
Because Kenseth, he stayed on the racetrack and got those 5 bonus points, but he's worked his way up to the 25th position.
There's Dale Earnhardt Jr. up to the 23rd spot, looking for a little miracle there, Matt.
Bill, he was struggling with the race car early. He thought about pitting on lap 4 with a lot of other cars, decided to stay out and ride it out. The car has gotten better. Still a little tight on exit, though. And you can see from that shot just how bright the sun is going in the corner.
Thanks, Matt. Carl Edwards continues to lead. When we come back to the California Speedway, we will take you through the field. 2 races to go in the race to the chase. Can McMurray make it? We'll see what happens. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. That is Carl Edwards, the race leader, has just spun.
Come on, baby. Hold her there. Wow, did not hit the wall.
Lock it down, lock it down.
That's real important. His left rear is flat, but I'll tell you what, him not hitting the wall, BP, he may be able to get away with one.
Oh, I'm telling you, that's unbelievable.
The caution is out.
Get on the racetrack. Come on, Carl.
No. You need to come in the pits and
That's
get that tire
right.
changed.
Get that tire changed.
You pull that. Attaboy, Carl. Good move.
He is coming down pit road.
No, I don't think we hit anything. Oh, we're fine. Just got a flat left side or something. Flat left rear.
Let's see what we can see.
Carl, the reason for sanity there.
Yep. Left rear's flat. But boy, he did a good job keeping off that wall. And if he's a little bit lucky, that's good too. Because
it looked like right there he was going to hit the wall with the nose and somehow kept it off.
He's still got a real good chance coming back and winning this thing or top 5 in it.
How about the fact he's a leader and nobody runs into him? I mean, everybody in the race is behind him.
You can see the left rear just peeling off that car.
There it goes. Wow. Edwards on pit road.
And everybody's going to pit anyway. So he's just going to have to start the tail end of the longest line, really.
He'll have to start the rear of the field because pit road was closed when he made that stop. But at least he's on the lead lap with 4 fresh tires.
On board with Carl Edwards.
Just listen to this and watch it.
Come on, guys. Come on, baby. Hold it there, hold it there.
Bobby Hudson.
Lock it down, lock it down.
Was he praying or talking to Carl?
Dave.
Kevin Harvick, more of the same for him. Tied off, loose into the corner. Another air pressure adjustment, running 12. He gives up 12 to pit for 4 tires. Marty.
The spin by the 99 means that the 97, his teammate Kurt Busch, is now the leader. Top of your screen, he hits pit road. Car a little too loose by himself, down on the track bar, Matt.
Same problem the Biff had the first stop. Just no grip. They've already made a chassis adjustment. They didn't want to pull, wanted to tear offs off and lose one there. They just cleaned it to Snyder.
And Jimmy Johnson leaving pit road, Matt. His car was too tight. He said the front end needs to roll better through the center of the corner. You see him leaving on the bottom of your screen. Air pressure and wedge adjustments for the 48
And that 16 car sat in that pit stall for a long time. We'll get Matt to check on that, update the running order when we come back to California. 48 laps are complete. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Kurt Busch is the race leader. The field has just taken the green, heading into turn 2 now. Tony Stewart in the 20 car in second. Jimmy Johnson, Brian Vickers, Kurt Busch, the top 5. Greg Biffle, 11. After they had a problem with an air gun on pit road.
Tony Stewart, this 20 car looking a little racy. Has some visions going on the inside of the 97 to turn 3. Said, maybe not.
Jamie McMurray is all the way back in the 37th position. He stayed out to try and lead a lap, but because it was a quickie yellow and everybody could pit, he had to pit the next time and did not get credit for leading the lap. Here's our McDonald's pit summary.
Check it out. Greg Biffle came in second. Came out 14th.
And we know why.
And we know why. We'll show you in just a moment. The only real change in the top 3.
Stewart looking at Busch. Tony Stewart has had an outstanding second half of the season going back to Sonoma.
You can see how much these cars slide. Like Matt was talking about earlier, it's not like it's a racetrack where it's real abrasive like Darlington, but you slide on so much of this track. When you get down in the corner here, you get back on the throttle. When you're hard on the throttle, it's not like you're driving to the wall. You're sliding to the wall most of the time. And that will tear off your tires if you have a little bit better handling car than most. You just have those tires that are better longer, but everybody slides on this place. You can tell by their hands.
Yeah. Carl Edwards, who brought out that caution with the solo spin, back in 36th position after leading 21 laps.
A couple of the Rick Henry cars, the 5, Kyle Busch, the 25 with Brian Vickers.
Mark Martin in the 6, running 6th. We knew Mark's car wasn't handling that well, so hopefully that pit stop will make his car a little bit better. Dave, how about Kyle Busch?
Yeah, pretty good race car for Kyle right now. It is the same car that he had at Michigan with one noticeable exception. Can you tell what it is on the front of the car? You know, trash on the grill, Bill.
There you go.
He made an air pressure adjustment the last time in just to keep up with the track, but he really couldn't think of how to fix the car much more than just watch out that we don't tighten up too much.
And as the sun goes down, when it ever finally goes down, this place will tighten up a bunch. You'll have to make big adjustments there right when the sun goes down and this track is in the shade, because it will get tighter. These cars will not want to turn very well.
Now, we talked about Greg Biffle's problems on pit road.
Oh, in the wall a little bit.
In the wall goes Jimmy Johnson.
That's okay. He didn't touch it hard enough to even really damage the fender or anything there. So if you're going to hit the wall, that's the way to hit it.
Runs in the 3rd position, on board with Jimmy. It's Tony Stewart in the 20 right in front of him. You can see the tape on the inside of Stewart's windshield.
Jimmy, feel that thing out.
Chad Knaus, the crew chief, telling Jimmy, feel it out. Tony Stewart pulls over to let him go by.
Sometimes it'll knock the toe out a little bit in the front steering. If you hit the wall, you want to, hopefully it doesn't cut a tire, so you know you get a flat tire. But that was a pretty square hit. I think you'll be okay.
Of course, Chad, I'm trying here. I haven't seen anything yet.
Trying to get a good look at that car. Wally talked about, make sure the tires are okay.
He got in front of Tony Stewart. Tony said, you know, I was faster than he is. I need to get back in front of him. And so back in front he goes.
It's really bouncy back there, isn't it?
Yeah, and that gets worse, too, especially in 1 and 2. It almost sometimes feels like your car will bounce across the racetrack, especially on when the fuel load burns off. So you'll see a lot more of that later on as the race goes on.
Those are teammates. Kyle Busch in the 5. Looking for Matt Kenseth in 18th and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 19th. There's Matt in the 17. How about Matt, Dave?
Hey, Bill, he's picked up 3 positions since the restart. Restarted 21st, but he just radioed to his crew. Car feels really, really loose. Wants to spin out. He said, I might have a tire going out. Be ready.
Now, Mark said the same thing. We heard Mark Martin's radio. He said he thought he might have a tire going down. Then he just realized it was the handling characteristics of the car.
Yeah, it's a lot of cars are loose on this racetrack. And there again, as the sun goes down, the track will get better. There'll be more grip in the racetrack. But you got to kind of hang on to it. If you can hang on to it right now, it'll even out. Your car will be good as the track gets cooler.
The 41 car of California's Casey Mears on and off of pit road. There's Casey on the apron. Had a vibration. Came in and had the crew check it out. Tough break for Casey. Talked to him yesterday. Has a big number of family and friends here.
See Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to get by Rusty Wallace. That would be for the
17th.
Yeah, Rusty's the 17th right now. Being pretty tough up there on the outside.
Now, pit road is always a very important place. Your pit stop's extremely critical. You can't make any mistakes. We'll keep an eye on the guys on the track, but we want to make sure you know what happened to Greg Biffle's car while it was on pit road. We're going to take you inside the NBC pit window here and show you. BP?
All right, the rear tire changer, Joe Slingerland, this fella here. Watch when he goes around the car and watch his air hose. About right there, the hose, as he slips and falls and the gun goes down and hits the ground, the hose becomes disconnected. See it there? It's laid on the ground. He has the impact wrench in his hand.
And he doesn't know it yet.
Then when he puts the gun on there, he says, oh, I got to have the hose. He picks it up, plugs it back on the impact wrench, and then changes the left rear tire.
So maybe 4 seconds, but cost him 12 spots on pit lane.
Matt?
Bill, moments after that car left, Joe Slingerland was taking, you can see his air impact gun and the hose. Now he took a tie wrapped the fitting, and then took duct tape and tied it up tight so that wouldn't happen again. Doug Richard had a pep talk with the team.
Hey everybody, check your equipment. That's not championship material right there. Check your tools.
Now that was the problem on the pit stop, but the problem on the racetrack. Greg says the car is just bad tight. He is locking it down with the steering wheel. It is so tight trying to get the car to cut in the corner.
So he's got his hands full. There are teammates. Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Brian Vickers in the 25, battling for fourth.
And look behind these guys, that silver car, Sterling Marlin.
How about that?
Great run for Sterling tonight.
Vickers gets the position over Johnson. Sterling right behind him. And that's Casey Kane in the 9. Well, we tried this once before. We'll try it again. When we come back to California, we will take you through the field. Kurt Busch is the race leader. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Still under green here at California. Kurt Busch continues to lead. Here are our Chevrolet drivers to watch.
Yeah, buddy, keep it up, man. Just over in his 6th position.
On board with Jimmy, who has 1 win here. Gordon 3 times. He's been to victory lane. There's your race leader, Kurt Busch. Tony Stewart's behind him. And we're going to take you through the field. And start with Marty Snyder.
And Bill, before the pit stops, remember we told you that Kurt Busch had said that his car could not run up front. It was too loose when he was up by himself. So they made adjustments so it could run up front. Down on the track bar, a pound in the right front. Obviously, it worked. He's leading. Alan?
Tony Stewart started the race 14th. He's running second. During the last caution, he was complaining to his crew chief, Greg Zipatilli, about his car's handling. Greg said, well, if the car's handling that way now, it'll be great when the sun goes down and we close in on the checkers. Dave?
Kyle Busch is running third. He started 25th, was 20th on lap 5, 14th on restart 2, 5th on restart 3. That's the serial on Kyle Busch. Alan?
Brian Vickers has been getting closer and closer to winning over the course of this summer. His team's performance picking up since about Memorial Day. Perhaps tonight is the night for the first win. Vickers is running fourth now, just minor adjustments to his car on the last pit stop. Marty?
Alan, Jimmy Johnson has been clinched into the chase for the championship for a couple of weeks now. And we asked him, you know, being clinched, does it change the way you approach races?
I think when we left Bristol, we were pretty bummed out with the result. But then when we heard we were clinched, you know, that helped a little bit. So in the back of our minds going forward, we're excited about it. We know that we're going to be in the chase, but these next 2 races really can carry over and help us learn things for the tracks in the final 10. So we're treating these next 2 just like they're part of the final 10 and trying to get maximum points and race wins and be up front.
And he told us in the Bank of America card countdown, Bank of America countdown to green, that, you know what, I'm a pretty calm guy. So when he hit the wall on lap 55, he didn't panic and said the car is just fine. Matt?
Working underneath the 48 is the 40th. Sterling Marlin hasn't gone to victory lane since 2002. The last 2 stops, no adjustment. The car on the free side. They know the track is going to get tighter as the sun goes down. Mark Martin trying to trail in behind the 40, working on some positions. All he needs to do tonight is finish 5th, and he is clinched. Meanwhile, his teammate, Greg Biffle, trying to bounce back from that early miscue on the pit stop. He has gone from 12th to 8th. The car is still bad tight, telling Doug Richard, his crew chief, we are going to have to possibly work some kind of pit strategy to pick up some of this track position. Alan?
Well, Casey Kane's crew chief, Tommy Baldwin Jr., told me before the start of the race they had no idea how the 9 car would perform tonight. His hope was to keep Casey patient with the car while they adjusted on a couple of pit stops. Casey just lost a few spots a couple of corners ago. Michael Waltrip solidly in the top 10 now at the back end of that lead group. Michael asking for no changes on their last pit stop. His crew chief, Tony Uri Jr., overruled, saying we ought to try and keep up with the racetrack. They made an air pressure adjustment.
Thanks, guys. Those are the top 10 cars. Kurt Busch continues to lead by 1.3 seconds over Tony Stewart. And that Sterling Marlin, Brian Vickers, Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson fiasco is something to watch. Let's continue through the field on Elliott Sadler.
One of those drivers, Bill, trying to work his way back into the chase. Just passed by the 17, trying to fight back on the outside. The changes they made in the last stop has really helped the race car. Still a little tight, though, in the center of the corner, Dave.
Crew chief Robbie Reiser told me that the 17 team did nothing special this week to prepare for California, and in very workmanlike fashion, Matt has moved up 10 positions since the last restart. 2 cars behind the 22 of Scott Wimmer. They've had a tight race car all night long, but Scott started this race 27th. He's working his way toward the front. The 29 of Kevin Harvick has had a car that was loose off the corners and tight as he got in. They made an air pressure adjustment this last time. He's fallen back. They need to work harder on those adjustments next stop. Marty.
Hey, how about this run from Rusty Wallace? 34th to 15th, and he told me before the race started, we're going to be better at night. The best may yet to come from Rusty Wallace's car. Just a little bit too tight, and he is in the chase now officially. Joe Nemechek thinks he may have damaged his valence in qualifying. It's up a little bit higher than he would like. That is making his car a little tighter than he would like. They've made air pressure wedge and track bar adjustments on both of their starts. Jeremy Mayfield's in his car, sliding the nose to the center of the corner. That's forcing him to run a higher line than he would like. Mayfield's struggling just a little bit. He's in the 17th position. A chase man, Ryan Newman, 9th coming into the championship into this race, pleading for help from his spotter, saying, I need help getting into turn 3. I don't know when these cars are around me. He's tight in 1 and 2, loose in 3 and 4. Dave?
In that 21 car, Ricky Rudd trying to look past the death of his father this week. I talked to him this morning. He was at the racetrack on Friday, but he had John Wood qualify and practice the car on Saturday because he said my head just wasn't in it, Dave. He is trying very hard to race this car to the finish tonight. Matt?
Dave, the last of the bubble drivers, Dale Earnhardt Jr., trying to get this team one last shot into the chase, knowing that tonight possibly is the night he is really going to have to pull off something big. Meanwhile, while he's happy with his car, the 31 of Jeff Burton going back and forth between loose and tight as the sun continues to set here out in California, Dave.
The 7 car of Robbie Gordon, he's reporting the same thing, Matt, loose and tight as he runs that high line. The crew trying to adjust the last time by making an air pressure adjustment on those tires. The 88 of Dale Jarrett has actually been in 3 times, where most folks have only been in twice. DJ stopping all 3 times he's had the opportunity. His race car has been tight.
Well, Carl Edwards is trying to charge his way back up through the field after he spun out back at lap 47 from the lead. His only report to the crew was, I felt the tire go down in the back straight away. I just couldn't catch it in time. He restarted this race in 38th spot. He's moving up, Matt.
You heard the driver of the 42, Jamie McMurray, say in the countdown to green that this is the most important race for he and his team. He said back on lap 56 to his crew chief, Donnie Wingo, we almost had a big one. It was a huge bobble. Looking for a track bar adjustment, Allen, on the next stop.
Jeff Gordon way back in 30th place, trying to protect that tenuous spot he holds in the group for the championship chase. Jeff reporting to his crew the car better after the last set of adjustments, but still needs more work. They've got quite a few more pit stops to make before we see the checkers in this race.
Thanks, you guys. A lot going on out there. Take a look at the championship standings as they run. Kurt Busch has moved into the 5th spot. That's Kyle Busch passing Tony Stewart right there for 2nd.
See, Martin lost his spot, so has Mayfield. Edwards, Newman stays the same, and Kenseth now in that 10th position.
And behind Matt, Elliott Sadler is in that 11th spot, 21 points behind 10th, and Gordon is dropped to 48 back. This race is going to be 2 races. It's going to be the race to the sunset and the race after the sunset. Right. So if you're good now, it doesn't guarantee you're going to be good after the sun goes down.
Correct.
Kurt Busch is the race leader. The defending series champion, trying to lock himself into the chase for the 2005 Nextel Cup. We'll see what happens at California. New race leader is Kyle Busch. And who did he
brother of Kurt Busch.
And who did he pass to get the lead?
Yeah, there he is.
It's easier passing your brother than others. You see,
not always.
Kurt will pull down, and Kyle will take the lead. So it wasn't an ugly fight.
Then they come out of 2.
A little brotherly wave out the window by Kyle Busch, saying, "Thanks, brother."
Gives him a little wave. So Kyle Busch leads at California. Talented young driver for Hendrick Motorsports. Still trying to get that first Nextel Cup victory, and it has been a battle for Kyle.
Frustration, definitely. I mean, it always sets in that you're running well and you're doing everything you need to be doing, and you can do that. But the frustration just overwhelms everything, being as though you can't get to victory lane. You know, you can run so well and do so many good things, but one little bad thing will just tear your day apart. And we've had that as of late, and you know, the team's been getting stronger, and I've been getting stronger as well as a driver, just trying to overcome those balances of things on all the bad things that'll come about to you.
And he has had some bad luck, but you really like his chances of getting to victory lane.
I do. I said it a while back. I said that boy's going to be in victory lane, and it's not going to be too long. He's been running good all year. And obviously, he's showing the speed and learning a lot. So, yep, he's going to win some races.
Could be tonight. But guess what?
A long way to go.
Long way to go.
That's the downside.
We're approaching some green flag pit stops, so we'll get a break out of the way, then bring you back to California and watch the guys head down pit road. You're watching the NASCAR NXTEL Cup Series on NBC. NBC Sports live in Fontana, California. For the Sony HD 500, Kyle Busch continues to lead, chased by Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, Mark Martin, and Brian Vickers. Hope you saw the Bank of America countdown to green. Obviously one of the topics we covered. Last week's crash in Bristol involving Dale Jarrett, Ryan Newman, and Kevin Harvick. So our singular race talk poll and our $1,031 challenge. How should Dale Jarrett have been penalized last week at Bristol? 2 laps, which is what NASCAR gave him. Park him, points and money, or it was just one of those racing deals. To vote, text the word race to 191 on your singular wireless phone or go to NASCAR.com. You'll also be entered for a chance to win $1,031.
See, Greg Biffle's 16 car is working its way back to the front. That was the battle for the 5th position with Brian Vickers.
Go ahead.
Elliott Sadler, 38. Sterling Marlin in 40. And Matt Kenseth. Check this out. Matt Kenseth in 17 has worked his way up to the 10th position.
Matt was as far back as 36th early in this race. Rusty Wallace on pit road for a green flag pit stop, Marty.
Oh, no. Caution flag is
for
out.
Hermie Sadler.
Boy, Rusty Wallace cannot catch a break.
This might work out.
Hit the lucky dog.
I don't think so.
No.
We'll see what happens, how they score him. Remember, the field is frozen when the yellow flag comes out.
But you've got to beat the leader off pit road, and he didn't.
Boy, he has had some lousy luck.
But everybody will come in. He'll stay out.
And he'll be on the tail of the lead lap.
That's still not very good.
No.
Still 2 laps down.
Yeah.
Don't have much of this.
Oh, wow. Tony Stewart just barely gets by.
That's after it's already happened.
Hermie's been off and on pit road all night. I don't know exactly what the problem has been.
Stuart Kirby has gone to the garage. He's out of the race. J.J. Yaley has returned to the track. He is 45 laps down.
Well, there's a lot of happy race car drivers that yellow came out.
Yes.
And one very unhappy one.
Yeah. Rusty being the very unhappy one.
We were approaching green flag pit stops. Kevin Harvick had already been on and off of pit road.
Just have to see how Rusty shakes out.
All right. I want to wait and see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right. Pit road parade, Dave.
Crew Chief Alan Gustafson and leader Kyle Busch make up one of the youngest crew chief driver combinations on the circuit. They have decided to leave this 5-car alone as far as the handling goes. 4 fresh tires. They'll see what happens on this run. Marty.
Kurt Busch hits pit road running 3rd, and he's in the middle of your screen in that 97 car, tied in 1 and 2. That's a ½ pound on left side tires to fix that. Loose in 3 and 4, ½ pound on the right rear tire. Matt.
Siegler and Blickensdorf are going to work on the right side, already completed, getting this left side tire, lug nuts off. The car was coming at the end now. Slight air pressure adjustment on the left side. He's away.
Top of the screen, Tony Stewart. On the left, on the right, you see the marker where his pit box is located. A 4-tire change and a slight adjustment for Tony. Marty?
Alan, this will be a long pit stop for Jimmy Johnson. Remember, he hit the wall on lap 55 about 15 laps ago. Radio to the crew said something is wrong in the right front. Chad Canals thinks it's the right front shock. They're going to change that. This is the benefit for being second place in the championship and already clinched.
But they would really like to carry some momentum into that chase. They limped in there last year. Crew cam on pit road. The Jackman for Mark Martin getting a good look at things. Now we talk about the crews getting it done on pit road. How about the drivers?
Yeah, this is great. Mark Martin, when they say go, man, he goes, and he slides up in front of all these other guys. Now, watch Kurt Busch 97. He had to slam on the brakes, or he would have hit Mark. Actually lost a spot to his brother in the 5 car.
Teammates, brothers, a lot going on. Still under caution here at California. The field has just gotten the green flag. They're through turn 1 into turn 2. Tony Stewart is the race leader. Rusty Wallace in the 2.
Wow.
Into the lead lap, and it's a mess down the backstretch.
The 41 car in front, the red and white car, Casey Mears was a lap down. So is the 29 car. Rusty Wallace is now a lap down. He was trying his best to stay in front of the leaders. Couldn't do it.
Mark Martin runs second. Stewart in the 20 car is the race leader, the white and orange car, the Home Depot Chevrolet. Wallace falls in behind Martin. Then the 5 of Kyle Busch.
This is where Kyle's got to be patient now. This is where he's got a car in front of him. He wants by really bad, but he's got to be careful right here. Got his brother underneath him right now, the 97, Kurt Busch.
Hey, Marty.
Yes, Bill.
What was up with the 2?
Oh, Rusty Wallace thought he had a flat tire when he came in. That's why he had to pit about 2 or 3 laps earlier than he would have liked. But the tire was not flat. But Rusty told me earlier, remember, we're going to be better at night. So if they can get a lucky dog here and get back on the lead lap, I think they'll still be in contention.
He's going to have to hustle to be that lucky dog, Marty. Got Harvick up there in Mears that just got on the lead lap, but they've got the leader coming fast.
A lot of fast cars and a lot of really loose rich cars out there. McDonald's pit summary. Kyle Busch came out 3rd. Stewart got the lead. Kurt Busch from 3rd to 4th.
Tell you what, Tony Stewart's pit crew, they have been spectacular all year. Biffle was 16 as Kurt Busch was trying to pass Rusty Wallace. He said, oh, I think I'll try to pass both of them. Meanwhile, he and Kurt are side by side.
And trying to catch that pack is the 17 of Matt Kenseth. Last week's winner at Bristol, trying to race his way into the chase. And right now, Matt has that 10th spot. Starting to get nasty out there with the sun, isn't it?
Yes, it's about right where it is right now. Probably the worst it's going to get.
Elliott Sadler, 8th in that 38 car. Knows he has a challenge ahead of him facing that sun.
I think this is the toughest race we have. It's almost pretty dangerous. Going down the back stretch, you can't see anything in front of you. Pretty much relying on your spotter if something happens. And I usually pick up the palm trees and stuff on the back stretch to try to figure out where I need to lift and things like that. And it's pretty tough for a good 50 or 60 laps, probably a good 45 minutes or so. And then after that, it gets a little bit better. Then the reverse side of it, when you're going in the front stretch, you can't see out your rear view mirror. And I think that's a lot of stuff that TV really forgets about when you're running nose to tail and people are trying to make it 2 and 3 wide. You really can't tell what's going on behind you either.
Well, all right, we must have a camera looking out the back that's looking at that sun.
Wow.
There you go. That's a good point. On board with Mark Martin.
Yeah. So you're driving into it and driving away from it, and you just can't hide.
Now, this is coming off turn 2. He starts down the back, and it looks like the sun problem may be getting a little bit better.
Yeah, actually, the back is starting to get under shade about the last 3 or 4 laps.
Bill, something to keep an eye on as we watch these pictures from the insides of these race cars. The sun is now set to a point that the entire track surface in turns 3 and 4 is in the shade. You see them driving into the sun through 1 and 2, but the surface in 3 and 4 in the shade. The difference in track temperature affects how these cars grip the racetrack, and we'll see who that helps and who that might hurt as this next segment of the race winds on.
Another thing, Alan, is that the track temperature is going to continue to change for quite a while. Like you said, right now you got a little bit of sun in 1 and 2 and it's shady in 3 and 4, but the track will keep cooling and cooling and cooling, so you're always chasing the racetrack because of the way it's changing.
This is for third.
Biffle in 16, Kyle Busch in 5, and we see the 29 car of Harvick has been passed by the leader, Tony Stewart.
So that would make Harvick the first car a lap down, and he would get the lucky dog if the caution came out. Tony Stewart by 1.5 seconds over Mark Martin. On board with Tony. Sir Miller race fact. Championship leader coming into the California race has failed to finish 3 of 10 races, including the last 2.
Tony didn't want to see that.
Well, that's why we put it out the back of his car so he wouldn't see it.
Okay, good.
As well as that team has been running, I don't think the Miller race fact is a threat to them.
I don't think so.
That is the car he took to victory lane at Indianapolis.
Oh, wow.
Biffle in the 16, Kyle Busch in the 5. Mixing it up for third.
Kurt Busch now taking a look underneath Harvick.
Harvick's in a good spot there. I mean, if you have to be off the lead lap, racing hard to make sure he's still the lucky dog if the caution was to come out. Marty, what do you got?
Well, you talk about the track changing and the sun setting and all that. You can also tell it in the way the drivers are talking about their race cars. Early on, it was all tight, tight, tight. Car won't turn. Now they're starting to say car's a little too loose. So this track is definitely changing. And Wally, I'm sure your race car went through the same cycle last night, too.
Actually, it went from loose to tight, though, Marty. I mean, normally when the track cools off, that's when the cars go tight because you get more rear grip in the cars. So, but don't forget, it's still sunny over there in 1 and 2.
And that's what all the drivers were complaining about. They could get grip up in 3 and 4, but all week they've been complaining about getting grip down in 1 and 2, where that sun sets last and keeps that racetrack so warm down there.
Remember, we saw Jimmy Johnson's team changing that shock. He currently runs in the 26th position. Kurt Busch, the defending series champion, chasing his brother. Kyle had a good car at Michigan. That 5 team was strong up there, but they got the paper on the grill, trash on the grill that Dave Burns talked about. And the countdown to green overheated the motor, and that was it. Their day ended far too early.
Now, Matt Kenseth, who came into this 11th in the points, is currently running in 7th position. He was chasing Jeff Gordon. And Gordon seems to be, guys, like he might be getting a little bit better, but he's still back in 19th position. Alan?
Well, BP, I will agree with your assessment. Or better yet, I'll tell you the team agrees with your assessment. They are getting a little bit better. Continuing to be aggressive about the changes they make to this race car every time it comes down pit road. Remember a week ago at Bristol, this team was way behind early in the race and kept after it and rallied back to have a good finish to climb into the top 10. Robbie Loomis told me, same game plan tonight. We're going to do whatever we have to do to finish up front at the end of this race. Matt?
Another guy trying to get into the chase, the 42, Jimmy McMurray. Missed it last year, dropped out at Richmond, trying to work his way back in. They've been bouncing back and forth between loose and tight, but as the track continues to change, it's working their way. They're hoping to make up some ground here.
We're not even halfway yet. The second half of this race is really going to be something. These guys not only racing for the win, guys like Kyle going for his first win, but these guys racing to make the chase for the Nextel Cup. Right now, it's just 49 points from 13th to 10th, so every position will be critical. Tony Stewart up front in California. 5 wins this season. Can he go back to victory lane tonight? We'll see what happens after the sun goes down. Thanks, Marty. We are under caution. Just came out for debris on the racetrack. Working lap 115. These guys are all coming to pit road.
Another battle between pit crews to see who can change 4 tires, put fuel in these cars the fastest.
And who makes mistakes, who doesn't, and what drivers can do to get their car on and off of pit road as quickly as possible.
Illegally. I mean legally.
The voice of experience, Wally Dallenbach. Dave Burns.
Kyle Busch is in, guys. He said, you know what? The car is pretty good. I just want to be a little more secure in and turn better through the center of the corner. Air pressure adjustment. Marty.
Kyle's brother Kurt not nearly as confident about his car on this run. Bottom of your screen in the 97. Loose everywhere. Don't know what to do with it, guys. Several air pressure adjustments in a long time on the left side, Matt.
Haney Rieger already pumping the jack on the left side. No adjustments this time for Mark Martin. A great stop going on. He's away, Allen.
Tony Stewart's crew got him the lead on their last set of stops. A very efficient stop this time. It looks like they're going to hold on. Well, now maybe not. Who's that jumping out ahead of him?
Looks like a 2-tire change by Michael Waltrip.
Picking up 14 positions.
Maybe just fuel only.
We'll have to find out, but that didn't work really well last night.
No, can't be just fuel only.
Michael in the 15, followed by Tony. There's Mark Martin in the 6. It was a 2-tire stop for Michael Waltrip. We'll see how that works out. He could be a sitting duck when we go back to green at California. McDonald's is helping out with relief efforts for the victims of Hurricane Katrina. For 30 days, a portion of the donations received in specially marked Ronald McDonald House Charities collection canisters will benefit hurricane relief efforts. The canisters are located at cash registers and drive-through windows at participating McDonald's restaurants in the United States. So when you can, help out.
Now, BP, this is really good for Rusty, because Michael Waltrip's on 2 tires. I don't think he's going to go very well. Rusty can get his lap back here, or at least for a while.
Tony Stewart gets by Michael Waltrip, and then Rusty might have his hands full, but
Rusty doesn't take off really quick. And now Michael's going to be in front of him and block him.
Okay, that didn't work out the way I figured.
Neither did your prediction about the 24 car. So
wait, that's okay. He went 4 wide off 2. Mark Martin getting a little aggressive down there.
Said in the countdown it was about the chase, but right now it's all about the race. Martin inside of Rusty going into 3.
Wow, just moved up the racetrack. Matt, what's he saying?
BP, he is on the move. His spotter, Eddie Pardue, warned him about the 15's tires to take it easy until we can work our way around him. He's also telling Pat Tryson the sun is almost down, the track is almost completely in shade, so that way they can stay ahead of the track changes.
Mark was pretty patient. He almost made it to the backstretch before he passed him. Michael Waltrip on those 2 tires right in front of Kurt Busch.
I don't think that's going to work out for him. He's already sliding around. I mean, just 4 tires was definitely the way to go last night in the Busch race.
And as that track temperature changes, the handling characteristics of your car will change throughout the night.
As the sun sets, as the track cools off, the cars will be faster and faster.
Ryan Newman in the 12. In 12.
Battle for the lead. The 20 car is Tony Stewart, the leader. 6 is Mark Martin, second. Rusty Wallace currently the 3rd place car in line, although he is 1 lap down to these cars.
He is the first car off the lead lap. That's the 24 car of Jeff Gordon in 30th. Allen.
Well, Bill, they took some extra time on that pit stop to pull a spring rubber out of the car. When you take that extra time, that means that a crew member's got that tire off for a long time while he reaches under, pulls literally a rubber wedge out from between the coils of the spring before they sling the new tire in place and bolt it down. They chose to give up the track position now to help the handling of their car for later.
Yeah, they got a long way to go, and these 500-mile races actually benefit, I think, the 24 as much as anybody, because they can take a bad car and turn it around. If they have a 500-mile race.
How many times have we seen that?
Yeah, still get a good finish.
And we're 2 laps away from halfway. So this is when the second race begins in about 2 laps. With the sun going down and the cars speeding up.
And that very loose race car that everybody was fighting is going to become a pretty good neutral car.
Battle for fourth between 17, Kenseth, 97, Busch.
And there's that Brian Vickers guy all over their bumper. How about Kenseth, Dave?
Well, his car has really gotten good, and you know where he started, mid-pack, fell to the back, and has raced his way to the front. That car now running pretty well. It's just the middle of the corners where he's going through right now that car wants to push toward the wall. They made an air pressure adjustment, took a little air pressure out of that left front tire, and that small adjustment should help the 17 car.
Dave talked about qualifying in the middle of the pack. He qualified 23rd. When I talked to the crew members today, they were not disappointed about qualifying 23rd because they said they believe they've won half their races qualifying 23rd.
I knew their car was going to be good in the race when I talked to Robbie Reiser here on Friday, because he wouldn't give you anything. You know, I said, Robbie, where are you going to qualify? I go, somewhere between 1st and 43rd. Really? Well, how are you going to race? Well, we're going to finish somewhere between 1st and 43rd. And when Robbie Reiser, Matt Kenseth's crew chief, starts giving you that stuff, you know that he's pretty optimistic about the equipment they've got.
Oh, hang on. Boy, that thing shot off the track there.
Marty, that thing took off up the hill, talking about the 97.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to be driving that thing right now. The car's a little bit too loose, and there's a little concern in the 97 camp. They were extremely good when the sun was out. Now the sun's gone down, and Kurt's car has gotten terribly loose. So they've got to get that problem figured out. They made 3 separate air pressure adjustments trying to get that car to tighten up, but so far didn't work too well. Dave?
Back to Matt Kenseth. You know, all that dicey racing around there. Matt says over the radio, geez, what is this, the last lap of the Daytona 500?
It kind of looked like it there. Want to make sure we point out that Kevin Harvick was the lucky dog under the last caution. So he's back on the lead lap running 31st.
But that's one thing I love about this racetrack. Although your car isn't the way you want it to be, you can move around and find a different place on the racetrack that will accommodate your car and the shape it's in.
Yeah, there's a lot of racetrack views here. Kyle Busch in the 5 car takes a spot from Matt Kenseth.
You just like this place because it's close to Ontario. Right, BP?
Yeah, the old racetrack, yes. Ontario Motor Speedway, just 5 miles down the road.
Who won the last race there?
Let's see. I think it was old BP.
It was? How about that?
Looks like Kyle Busch might get that spot from his brother here in another lap or 2.
Tony Stewart up front, 0.7 of a second ahead of Mark Martin. He's the championship leader. He's the race leader. We'll try it again. See if we can get you through the field when we come back to California. Tony Stewart continues to lead here at the California Speedway in the Sony HD 500. Looking for his 6th win of the season. Here's our Team Tylenol safety fact. NASCAR mandates the use of wheel, hood, and deck lid tethers, which help keep the parts attached to the cars in the event of a crash. So basically, when you hit the wall and parts start flying off, they use these tethers to keep everything attached to the car.
Good plan. There's nothing more scary than a hood flying through the air like we've seen in years past.
And you see those wheels snap off of there and go rolling down the track as well. Tony Stewart leads. Let's take you through the field. Alan, you first.
That would be me, Bill. And talking about Tony Stewart, the race leader. Of course, Tony's already clinched his place in the chase. But I talked to his crew chief, Greg Zipadelli. He said there are no experiments on this race car tonight. They're not trying anything fancy. Same old story. Win if you can. Get as many points as you can. Matt?
Mark Martin, a big money winner at the All-Star race in May, but looking for his first points-paying win this season. No changes on the last stop, trying to lock himself in a big way, Marty, with a victory.
Matt, this morning Kurt Busch told me to win this race, you're going to have to run the bottom groove and the top groove and make both of them work for you. He just radioed his crew moments ago after the changes they made on the last stop. Guys, it worked. Car handling much better. Dave?
Kyle Busch wanted his car to turn better in the middle of the corner. Oh, it's turning better, all right. His last quote, holy cow, I got a to drive this thing. The 17 of Matt Kenseth wanted his team to check his left side tires carefully after the last stop. Was worried that he was wearing them. The report back, we're all good. Matt?
Earlier in the race, Greg Biffle complaining of a tight race car, now complaining the car has gone the opposite side loose. But this team wants to go into the chase in a big way like his teammate Mark Martin with a victory.
We were looking forward to coming back here to California to try and get that momentum back as the winning momentum goes. We'd certainly like to win again. It feels like we haven't won in a long time, even though we've won 5 times. That's what pumps the team up. That's what gives them energy. I've heard Matt Kenseth talk about it over and over. Hasn't won in 50 races, and he's on top of the world right now. And you know, that's where we want to be. We want to try and win again. And but you know, when we're finishing third as a team, we're pretty excited about that.
Runs in 6. 2 of his 5 wins this year came on this type of track configuration. D-shaped 2-mile oval here in February and in June at Michigan, Alan.
Well, Brian Vickers hanging in there in the top 10 in this race. He's running in the 7th place. Actually just lost that. Sterling Marlin goes by him, pictured there. Vickers reporting his car a little less grip in the back end than he needs. When he turns the wheel left, the car starts to spin out. That's causing him to wait to get on the gas pedal in the corner.
Sterling Marlin's been having a great run all night, Alan. He's up to 7th. No changes the last 2 stops. Will depart this team at season's end. Wants to try to break that long winless streak dating back to 2002, AB.
Scott Riggs is having a spectacular night. He's running right now in the top 10 in 9th place. Scott announcing just a couple of weeks ago that he'll be leaving this team for other racing grounds in 2006. I asked Scott, is the team still behind you? He said, absolutely. We're racing as hard as we can. They're having one of their best runs of the season. Marty.
Alan, earlier the Booth boys were talking about how this is a story of 2 different races. That is absolutely the case for Ryan Newman. The quote he kept saying over and over again in the first part of the race, I don't know what to tell you guys. This car is terrible. Now he just came on the radio. Car's best it's been all night. Just a little bit tight. Newman going to the front. And those chase chances looking a lot better, Bill.
Marty, and Newman can probably see a lot better now, too, with that clear visor. There's Tony Stewart up front, 1.3 seconds ahead of Mark Martin. Continue going through the field, Alan.
Well, I talked earlier, Bill, about Casey Kane and his crew not really being sure how this car would perform tonight, trying to keep Casey patient while they adjusted on it. They had the wedge wrenches and the air pressure adjustments flying on the last pit stop, and Casey right now running up through Ryan Newman into the top 10. Marty?
Alan, this is Jimmy Johnson in 12th. Yes, the same one we saw just a little while ago, changing the right front shock. Great diagnosis by Chad Canals. They pinned it right off the bat. They changed the right front shock. The car has sprung back to life. Johnson still has a shot to win this thing. Joe Nemechek, too, struggled early on. Thought he had damaged the valence in qualifying. Now racing 3 wide with those guys. So the car is much, much better as Ricky Rudd passes him. Dave?
Ricky Rudd picking up positions now. The car okay. Small adjustments the last 2 stops. And as one crew member just told me, pretty good for a guy that hasn't been in the car all weekend long. Matt?
Elliott Sadler, bubble driver, 34 points out of 10 starting tonight, hoping to capitalize on the 24's miscues. The 16 guys are jumping up on the wall. Possible problem for Greg Biffle running in 6th, Alan.
We'll keep an eye on that, and we continue looking through the field to a guy who was leading this race earlier tonight when he had problems. Carl Edwards spinning out with a flat tire at lap 47. Here's a guy that's been in the NASCAR Cup Series just over a year, and he's in all this heat of this championship chase fight. How are you dealing with that pressure, Carl?
The pressure for trying to make the chase. That pressure is something that I didn't really think of at the beginning of the season, because I didn't think we'd really have an opportunity. I thought, you know, man, if we finish the top 25 in points, that'd be awesome. And now here we sit, and we're so close. And I made a little deal with myself last week at home. It was really getting to me. I mean, you know, I was having trouble sleeping. You know, I just think about it all the time. I just decided I'm going to go out here and have a good time, do the best I can, and that's all I'm in control of. So that's all I'm going to work at and worry about. And since then, I've been awesome, man. I just had a good time with it. And if we make it, we make it. If we don't make it, I'll be happy for the folks that do.
Well, Carl right now trying to make some ground back up after that spin earlier in the race. And again, he sits 16. Matt?
Jamie McMurray told me this weekend, the thing that he's noticed this year, the guys that are 8th through 14th in the points, one week they have a great run. The next week, they struggle. Whether it's their fault or somebody else's, he knows they've got to have a perfect night tonight and next next week so they can get Ganassi's Dodge in the chase, Dave.
Scott Wimmer's car wouldn't turn, so 2 stops ago, they reduced the air pressure in both of those front tires. And it got way, way loose, so they put that air pressure back into the last stop. Matt?
And the 31, Jeff Burton, RCR Chevrolet, going back and forth. It was loose, bad early, starting to tighten up. They made significant adjustments on the last stop. It has really helped, he's telling the team. Meanwhile, the 41, he got the lucky dog earlier. One of the fastest cars on the racetrack, had a great car here in February. As this track gets tighter and tighter, he should be better and better, Dave.
Dale Jarrett with slim hope, chase hopes right now, still mired back in the mid-20s. Last report was that his car was turning too well. They made a track bar adjustment for that on the last stop. Of course, the 29 car of Kevin Harvick was a lucky dog on lap 113 caution. He was a lucky dog earlier in the race, too. Remember that first caution? He had a tire going down. They're glad they stopped when they did. Alan?
We told you about Jeff Gordon's team giving up some track position to pull a spring rubber out of their right rear. On the last pit stop, they fell back to 30th. Jeff has moved up to 24th spot. They just discussed another adjustment for the next pit stop. Matt, they're still chasing it with this 24 bunch.
Dale Jr. has made a lot of comments over the last 45 minutes. He says the car is starting to work the way he wants. The engine, though, he's a little concerned. He says it runs like a diesel. Feels like it's about ready to blow up because I want it to blow up in a big way. He says fire, huge smoke. Then he says, all right, let's get back together here. We need to make a small air pressure adjustment on the next stop, even though my car, he says, is driving like a Sherman tank. And there's a spin.
Kurt Busch off of 4 in the grass along the front stretch.
And that's 2 of the Roush cars that have spun tonight. Carl Edwards in the 99 and now Kurt Busch in the 97. Go all the way around and haven't hit anything yet.
Right front is flat. Now, I don't know if that happened after the spin or not, but it's flat right now.
Caution obviously is out. Rusty Wallace will be the lucky dog. So that time we got through the field before the caution came out. Let's take a look.
Mark, don't forget to look at that left front.
Let's see if we can just see very top of the screen up here. The 97 car's going to come off the racetrack, and around he goes. Well, he was driving that thing, wasn't he? Down in the grass. He was turning that wheel. Okay, put it in gear and drive away.
Man, those are some good seats right there. Rusty's the lucky dog, but Kurt Busch is pretty lucky.
Yeah, the Roush guys today have been lucky dogs, not hitting a wall.
Yeah, got a tire rub there now.
He's got to be careful now. That thing doesn't come apart because it looks like it's about to.
Time to get the results from our singular wireless poll. How should Dale Jarrett have been penalized after Bristol when you ran into Ryan Newman?
Wow, look at that, BP.
Yeah.
Racing is racing.
40%. Two out of every 5 said racing is racing.
Fans love Bristol, don't they?
They do. That's why Burton has 160,000 seats there.
Don't forget, you can still text RACE to 191 for a chance to win $1,031. Oh, they're all coming to pit road again. Got to make sure your air gun doesn't come
undone.
Yep.
From the hose.
Make sure nobody runs into you. Don't speed, Wally. You get that? Do you really get nailed for that twice last night?
Yes, I did.
You did?
I still don't understand it.
You had that problem in school.
I guess I was speeding.
Working lap 145. Tony Stewart, Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth all the way up to 3rd. And he is coming to you, Dave Burns.
Kenseth comes on pit road. His car was a little bit hard to turn at the beginning of the run, but really came around to him. So he said, guys, let's make no adjustments. How fast can you change 4 tires? They're going to try hard, fill it full of fuel. Marty.
Dave, Ryan Newman's car is tight. He said, you know what, I'd rather be tight than I would rather be loose. I'm kind of happy with the car. He's in the bottom of your screen in the 12 car, so they're going to go up 1 round on the track bar, trying to loosen that car up a little bit for Ryan. Matt?
The best Roush car that run, Mark Martin, just like the previous run. No adjustments on the 6th car. He says it is near perfect. Alan?
Tony Stewart's team has already made a small wedge adjustment. The jacking bolt in the left rear corner of the car. He held the lead coming in. Let's see if he holds it going out. Going to be close with Matt Kenseth. But watch the race to the scoring line.
Kenseth. Didn't you say something about that pit crew, that 17 pit crew the other day, Benny, when we were talking about Robbie Reiser's guys?
They are so good. There we see Matt Kenseth. Great battle for second between Tony Stewart and Mark Martin. It's Stewart by a fender.
Under caution here at California. We'll check out the running order when we come back. You're watching NASCAR live on NBC. Still under caution here at California. Matt Kenseth won the race off of pit road. Transform the way you watch NASCAR. NBC and Sony HD TV proudly present tonight's race in high definition. And that's a good-looking picture, isn't it? It is. Take a look at our Craftsman pit summary. Show you what we just told you. That 17 bunch is good, because if you beat the 20, you're really good.
Because they very seldom lose any positions on pit road. But they did this time, and Kenseth picked up 2.
And hopefully everything's tight on everybody's car.
Matt Kenseth got out there in front, and here are the guys that got him there.
Robbie Reiser, Allenton, Wisconsin. Chris Brook, Davie, Florida. Justin Nottestead, Cambridge, Wisconsin.
Russ Strupp, Allenton, Wisconsin.
Zach Yarnott, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Jeremy West, Los Angeles, California.
Greg Ebert, Marshall, Wisconsin.
Dave McDonald, Clinton, Michigan.
Wayne Deloria, Biddeford, Maine, now Hickory, North Carolina.
And we talked about it briefly at the end of the race last week. That's a very tight-knit team down there, and right now they have Matt Kenseth back in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Busch brought out the caution. He restarted 31st. Jeff Gordon restarted 19th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in 26th.
Kyle Busch making some ground on the 6 car, Mark Martin. Down there.
Yep. Matt on the high side. Tony trying down low. There he goes.
And Kyle's up on the outside of Mark Martin for 3rd spot. Got it.
So the car's characteristics change and the track's characteristics change. So you got to find out how to make your car better and then find out where it's going to run on the track.
And that 5 car is better.
A lot better. How about Matt, Dave?
After his guys got him out front on those pit stops, Matt thanked his crew. He indicated that he might not have the fastest car here tonight, saying, that's about all I got, guys. There's faster cars out there in front of me.
5 cars fast.
And Tony Stewart drove his 20 car down in turn 1 so hard that he drug the racetrack and threw up sparks. First time I've seen that today. And I tell you what, that's 5 cars going to the front. Last lap, Kyle Busch in 5 just ran his fastest lap of the night.
And he's just 20 years old in his 31st career start in the Nextel Cup Series. How about Stewart giving off some sparks there, AB? Oh, hang on a second.
All right.
Hang on a second for the lead.
There it is.
That's how we do it.
That's Kyle's crew on the radio. Kyle Busch to the lead. And Matt Kenseth working all over the 20. We'll get to you. Hang on a second, Alan. What do you got, Dave?
Just the leader now. The Kyle Busch, he had a car that was really, really good everywhere, but coming off the corner, the tail end of it wanted to kick out like he would hit the wall. So 1 pound in the left rear tire was all it needed to make that car comfortable enough and fast enough to go to the front. Alan.
Well, here's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about speed. As the temperature cools, the cars carry more speed into the corners. And Wally and Benny, you can talk more about this, but with the spring settings these cars are using these days, they try to run the front end of the machine you go faster, there's more force pushing down on those springs, pushing the car harder to the racetrack. It's a concern for these teams. If you bounce too hard off the speedway, you might have to slow down going into the corner. That's not good.
That's not good. Anytime we see these cars go in the corner, Alan, and heavy sparks come from under them, you're very concerned that the driver doesn't have control. When they hit the racetrack, you momentarily lose control.
But we'll have to keep an eye on the 20 car. Maybe they did that just because right now their tire pressures are low. Maybe they're hoping that when the tire pressures get up, it'll stop bouncing. But
that's a good point.
And Scott Riggs in the 10 and Joe Nemechek in the 01. Those are teammates.
Battling for 11th and 12th.
Looking forward from Jimmy Johnson's car. And that's Ricky Rudd in the 21. Marty.
Weber, Jimmy Johnson and his crew have made this car better all night long. He just radioed to the crew when they came in for the last stop, said, guys, the car is very good. Gets a little tighter the longer he runs. The middle section of the run, very good for this 40-18, trying to get back in the top 10, currently in the 14th position.
You would think Johnson's team would really want to run strong tonight.
Smoke.
Both those cars smoking.
Was that just I guess it was just a tire rubbing the fender.
Oh, no.
A lot of smoke out of that 01 car.
I think the 10 car was smoking as well. Scott Riggs right in front of the 01 car of Nemechek.
See what happens here.
I don't think you'll see it here as much as you will down in turn 1.
Okay.
And I've been wrong quite a bit lately.
I don't know. Only when you're speeding on pit road. Twice.
Let's watch the Valvoline car going down in a corner here to see if we can get some. Yeah, he's smoking and bottoming. So it's the 01 car.
How about that?
Probably similar setup. They are teammates.
Would their tire pressures be back up?
They should be. Usually it takes about 8 or 9 laps, sometimes on a place like this. But they're hitting pretty hard right now.
Jimmy Johnson wants around Nemechek.
He doesn't like that smoke.
No,
he doesn't like following that smoke, and I don't blame him. Casey Kane's going to try it on the outside of the 9 car.
Marty?
I just checked in with Ryan Pemberton, crew chief for Joe Nemechek, asked him why the smoke. He said, because Joe's driving the car harder. Kind of what Alan talked about. More speed as the lights have gone down here and the track's cooled down, and they drive it harder into the corners. That's why you see all that tire smoke, especially early in the run.
Well, as long as you can still turn the car, it's not a big deal. It's just when it starts affecting the steering wheel, when you're turning the car, that's when it's trouble.
157 laps of 250 complete. Kyle Busch looking for his first Nextel Cup win. Will it come tonight? We'll see. Kyle Busch out front. What's he thinking right now, man?
Yeehaw! Yeah, exactly what he's thinking.
20-year-old kid thinking about his first win. A lot on the line here tonight. Just not a win, but a shot at the Nextel Cup championship.
I don't know if he's thinking about his first win right now. I think he's about probably all the things that could go wrong right now, but he's wanting it.
Well, there's Matt Kenseth having a big night, Dave.
You see the graphic. Before the race, he was 11th. He needed only 11 points to get into the chase. He had to get ahead of Jeff Gordon. He's currently 16 positions ahead of Gordon. He's done what he needs to do, just needs to stay there. Alan.
Well, the rally continues for Carl Edwards all the way back to 38th place with a lap 47 spin out of the lead. Last pit stop, his crew picked him up to 10th spot from just outside the top 10. He's gained 2 spots since the restart, coming back toward the front. Marty?
Ryan Newman, certainly one of those bubble guys, came in 9th in the championship. He fought a car early on. The car's been much better in the second half of the race. He said it's especially free. We need to turn still too easily in 3 and 4. Just a little free overall, he says right now. Matt?
The first half of the race, Marty, looked like it was going to be Elliott Sadler's night to have a great points-paying night. The car near perfect. Now it is awful. He says the past 2 runs, it has been extremely tight. Talking about putting the spring rubber in on their next stop. Meanwhile, Jamie McMurray, another bubble guy, trying to race his way in, trying to chase down the 38 for another position. Hasn't said a lot, Alan, just trying to make up ground on the racetrack.
While Jeff Gordon continues to try and make up the ground lost when they took the extra time on the pit stop to pull the spring rubber out. Jeff Gordon chase before the race started. Finds himself out of it now, running back in 19th with a car not handling as well as he'd like, Dave.
Dale Jarrett still not in the chase. After qualifying yesterday, he said this car is just not very good. They haven't gotten it too much better tonight.
Mike Bliss has gone around, and the caution is out at California.
Mike.
Our,
so you don't get last. Come on.
Our 7th caution of the evening.
And it's just amazing how many, what's that, 3 cars we've seen spin tonight, haven't hit the wall, and no other cars hit them.
We've got a flat left side, I think. It's down. 4 tires.
That's what a lot of people think tonight. They think they've got a flat tire, but they don't.
Just feels like it.
Feels like it. Now, he may have a flat on the right side. We'll have to see when he comes around.
Boris said in the 36 car will get the lucky dog.
Sure doesn't look like any tires are flat.
No.
And I know what Kyle Busch is thinking now.
I need to come in.
Don't mess up on pit road.
He's got such a good car right now. They just need to not make any mistakes. But
well, more than Michael Walsh. Let's see if we can see the 0 car. Yeah, just around he goes.
Spin in front of you. Spin in front of you. Cars on the bottom. Smoke. Cars on the bottom. Cars on the bottom.
It's a good job by Bliss. All these guys are coming to pit road. Tires and fuel, some adjustments.
And we still have 35 cars on the lead lap, so one huge mistake by your pit crew will put you back to 35th. Dave, coming to you.
Talked about taking 2 tires on the 17. Crew Chief Robbie Reiser says you're going backwards. We need to put 4 on it. Just a little air pressure on the left front tire to keep the 17 car turning well. Marty.
Ryan Newman said I can stand to be just a tick tighter as he hits his pit stall on the 12 car on the bottom of your screen. And he said, you know what? But the track temperature is going down, so let's not do anything in the car. Let's let the track adjust our car a little bit. Matt?
Mark, in the center of your screen, you can see they made the chassis adjustment, pulled the tear off the windshield. The car was bad loose. Surprise, Mark Allen, how bad it was.
Air pressure adjustments for Tony Stewart, out of the left rear into the right rear. 4 tire change on this car. He'll try to pick up the lead off pit road this time that he lost last time.
No, it was close, but I think Kenseth got him.
Robbie Reiser's guys getting it done again. Kyle Busch back to the 4th spot. Lost 3 positions on pit road. Len Jeffers has been a part of our booth for a long time. Had some surgery this week. Len, we miss you. We're rooting for you as hard as you root for your beloved Yankees. And when you're ready, Benny saved you a seat.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
We need to get him every week. Tommy Lasorda waving the green flag. The old lefty. Lap 3. Hang on. Trouble. J.J. Yeley.
Just got loose up in turn 4.
He's currently 45 laps down.
Carl Edwards has a left rear tire go flat. Around he goes, leading the race.
He didn't hit anything, and nobody hit him.
Sadler had problems here.
Yep. Brought out the caution.
After the big problem he had.
Shock change on the 48 car.
It might have broken it when he brushed the wall. At about 195 miles an hour.
More trouble for the Rally Gang.
Burt Busch in the grass. A little pirouette. Brings out the caution, points it in the right direction. Heads on back out.
And Mike Bliss, the 0 car, off turn 2. Around he goes. Michael Waltrip to the outside. Once again, 1 car spin.
Field coming to get the green. Our little Debbie lap leaders. Tony Stewart has led 51 of them, and he might be the car to beat. Kurt Busch. Matt Kenseth. Going to bring him back to the green flag. Our little Debbie lap leaders.
I think what we've seen so far, Tony Stewart or Kyle Busch seem to be as fast as anyone tonight.
Lap 170, they charge into 1.
So Elliott down on the low side. It's a lap down.
On board with Elliott as he sees Kyle Busch, the 5 car, go by.
Tony Stewart
with a lead.
Got it. Same thing that happened on the last restart.
I'll see Kyle Busch on the high side like the last restart. Get around Mark Martin. And he should make this happen since there's cars up in front of him. He gets a little bit of the draft and got Kenseth in his sights now.
I want to tell you that Elliott Sadler currently runs 33rd. He's one of the chasers, but had to make a couple of extra pit stops to work on the left rear of that car. There's Tony.
Stewart's car works excellent on the bottom, and Kyle's car, that 5, works excellent on top. As you see him going around the 17 of Matt Kenseth right now. We're trying to.
There you go. He's got him. Now let's find out how fast that 5 car is.
Well, you know, you can pass him on the high side because, you know, those 2 cars aren't running the same place at the racetrack. So Kyle should be able to get up alongside of him.
Top 4 drivers in the race to the chase are locked in. Mark and Kurt could get locked in tonight. Matt Kenseth has made his way to 9th. Ryan Newman hanging on.
He's 10 points behind Matt Kenseth. Then we go back to 11th. Jeff Gordon is 42 behind Newman. Jeff Gordon currently running in 17th on this racetrack.
They just haven't made the gains on the 24. There goes Kyle Busch on the low side of Tony Stewart.
Oh, wow. Made it look easy. Or maybe Tony let him make it look easy.
I don't know. Tell you, if you're 20 years old and you got a car like that and you get a chance to pass Tony Stewart, you're going. I mean, he has some good equipment there.
As I was saying about the 24 car, they should have had enough time to adjust that thing to where it should be better. But AB, are they still not hitting on it, or are they making gains?
Well, they're making gains, Wally. I just talked to crew chief Robbie Loomis under this last caution after the pit stop. I said, is the car responding to what you're doing? He said, yeah, but the problem is we keep swinging over the top of where we need to be, kind of like a pendulum. You know, they make an adjustment for a tight car, it swings loose. They make an adjustment for a loose car, it swings tight. He said, we just need to hit it in the middle. Good news is, all the cars we need to race are right around us.
What wasn't it him that was talking about sensitive earlier in the race?
Yep,
so that car is very sensitive to changes, like you say.
Someone said once it's like trying to balance on a razor blade, and that is fair.
That would have hurt.
Yeah. How about fair?
Well, you know something? If these guys may not have another opportunity, they're gonna have to stop one more time. But their opportunities to adjust these cars are pretty limited at this point.
That's what I mean. It's time to go right now. You've made your adjustments. You need to make it happen. Unless they get one more caution towards the end.
Right.
Jeff Gordon did get by Joe Nemechek. He's moved up to 16th. Still, that's not enough.
No. Dave, how about that Kyle Busch guy?
Well, you know, his guys are not happy about losing spots on pit road, losing the lead on pit road last time. And they really don't have an excuse for it. It was a smooth stop. Nothing really went wrong. Do you think they'll be watching tape this week?
Pit crew coach will probably be working these guys a little hard this week.
On board with Tony, his Home Depot ride. Looking at the race leader, 20-year-old Kyle Busch. When we come back to California, we'll take you through the field on NBC. There's something in the water. This fall, it's coming to the surface. The adventure is about to begin. Surface. Coming to NBC Mondays this fall. Oh boy.
In a movie, Waterworld, a few years ago. Maybe the same people did that. Surface, huh?
This 9 car of Casey Kane is a rocket.
He is flying and doing it on the outside. He's passed them all on the outside.
Restarted 11th on lap 170. And we're on lap 180 now, and he's up to 5th.
Well, he's 4th now. Just past Mark Martin on the high side.
How about that? On the move.
And still, he passed Mark and was still the fastest car that lap. Bill Elliott off the pace.
Hey, to just want to talk Casey Kane for a second, Bill. Remember that the crew has been talking about working through the night to get this car accommodated to track conditions. A little while ago, Ray Evernham, the team owner, jumped on the radio, told Casey he's running faster times than the race leader. That was before that last pit stop. We're seeing it again after the pit stop. He's just heading to the front.
Pretty fast right now, AB. He's fast again that lap. We'll see. Coming out of 4 now. He's catching them.
Keep an eye on Casey. Dave, what do you know about Bill?
Yeah, he came in a while back, guys, overheating, trash on the grill. Have we talked about that before? I think he's one of the victims now. The crew looks underneath again, and they're moving pretty slowly.
Yeah, that sounded, that didn't sound good when we went to his in-car earlier.
This is for second. Matt Kenseth inside of Tony Stewart. So do you think maybe that 20 car is not as good as it was?
Well, here's where you've got to keep up with the track changing, and the guys that just hit the setup right on these pit stops look like heroes, like the guy in the 9 car. Those guys just hit it right. He's passed 7 or 8 cars in the last 5 laps.
Man, that 9 car is absolutely... He looks like he's got 8 cylinders and the rest of them got 6. And Jeff Gordon is moving forward. He is up to the 14th position. There he and Ryan Newman, and this is a battle, folks, for that 10th position in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup.
Gordon falls in behind Newman. He's behind him on the track and behind him by 1 point right now in the championship standings. Snyder.
And you guys are exactly right. Ryan Newman in front of this pack, also trying to keep himself in the chase for the championship. Upset with his car now on this run. Says the car way too free, and he can't get back to the gas. He's having to wait on it in the middle of the corner. Alan?
In his meeting with his pit crew just before the start of this race, Robbie Loomis told his team that the word of the night was synergy. I said, well, what does that mean? He said, everybody has to work together to pick each other up. Last week at Bristol, when we got behind, the crew gained some spots on pit road. That energized Jeff behind the wheel. He got some more spots on the racetrack. The crew got some spots on the last pit stop. They've stayed after their adjustments all night, and I think the driver's coming alive behind the wheel as we get, oh, that checkered flag starting to come into sight.
Wow. Okay. Jeff Gordon drove that car in there forever. He got the position, but obviously he slid up the racetrack, but he's going to get the spot back here.
And Riggs is in that battle for position as well in the 12 car and the 10 car battle.
All right, as we watch Jeff Gordon, it's time to cue the duck in the truck. I love that duck.
Here's our Aflac trivia question. Who is the only driver to win a California race and a Cup championship in the same year? These are too easy.
Well, I guess since Jeff Gordon is on screen, that would be the answer. Well, there you go.
3-time winner at this track. 4-time series champion. Desperately trying to race his way into the chase for the Nextel Cup.
I think I'm starting to figure out how the answer's coming back now.
You got it? Kyle Busch continues to lead. He's led 40 laps tonight. Can he lead the last one? We'll see through the field when we come back. NBC Sports live in Fontana, California for the Sony HD 500.
It looks like Casey Kane, the 9 car, has used all the tires, the good in the tires that he had, because Tony Stewart has gotten back by him. It looks like Matt Kenseth is going to be able to do it as well.
This is the battle for second. Kyle Busch leads by 2.4 seconds.
I can't believe they went off that fast.
I can't either.
I mean, for as fast as he was, then he just all of a sudden backed up in a hurry.
All right, we promise to take you through the field. We'll start with the leader, and here's Dave.
He's feeling pretty sporty right now. Those were his words. He also asked, hey, this isn't a 400-mile race, is it? Referring to maybe leading by lap 200 here. Response back, keep going. We could win it if it was an 800-mile race if you keep doing what you're doing. Alan?
Well, Tony Stewart has spent a lot of time out in front tonight, as usual in these races lately. Also, as usual, not much chatter on Stewart's radio. As they close in on the next pit stop, crew chief Greg Zipadelli will ask Tony what he needs. Then we'll find out what they're lacking. Dave?
Robbie Reiser's done a great job this weekend. Distracted as his father is quite ill. He spent the whole day with him on Wednesday after testing Monday and Tuesday. He's really had his head in the game, trying to focus on getting the 17 into the chase. Alan?
Well, we just saw Casey Kane's rocket up through the top 10 into the top couple. Now he slipped back a few spots. The crew's looking for Kane to pit in about 25 more laps. And remember, that would be about the same number of laps to the finish that we got to this point. We should be pretty quick. Matt?
If Mark Martin can finish right where he is now, fifth, he'll lock himself into the chase and have another shot trying to score that first ever Nextel Cup Championship. But the car, Allen, bad loose.
Well, Carl Edwards' crew chief Bob Osborne just radioed him a couple of laps ago, said, "Is there anything we can do to help the car?" Carl's response was brief. No. Up to you, driver. Marty?
Alan, Jimmy Johnson securely locked into the chase for the Nextel Cup, and it's a good thing. They had a broken right front shock earlier, and now on lap 181, he thought he had a left front tire going down. Said, I don't know how much longer I can hang on to it, guys, but so far, the tire's holding up. Matt?
The Biff thought he had a tire going down earlier. Now he's just still fighting a bad loose condition like his teammate Mark Martin, but making a lot of conversation about how other cars are dragging their fenders like the 20 and the 48. Sparks flying. Meanwhile, Sterling Marlin and the 41, his teammate Casey Mears, having great days. Marlin, no adjustments again on the last stop. Meanwhile, Casey Mears, he's raced here in all kinds of cars, Kart Indy cars. His best finish here, 8th, 2004. Trying to work on that again, currently in the 10th position, guys.
Thanks, Matt. Up front, Kyle Busch by 2.4 seconds over Tony Stewart's. Qualified 25th for this race, has worked his way to the front of the field. Let's continue to go through the field. Marty.
Bill Kurt Busch fell back as far as 35th after the spin that he said was his fault. Now he says when he hits the throttle, the car jumps very loose, almost as much as 2 lanes. He said, guys, I can't drive a car like this. This is just silly. Alan?
Well, Brian Vickers has slipped back a couple spots. He's been running in the backside of the top 10 most of the night. One theme on this evening for him, rear grip. He just came on the radio and said 3 times, loose, 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 Dave.
On the last run, Ricky Rudd radioed in, my car feels funny. Rather than jump to conclusions, crew chief Fatback McSwain decided to just change tires, make no changes. There was a slow leak in the left front tire. Great call. Alan?
Here comes the rally. Jeff Gordon worked after this car all night. Remember, they went as far back as 30th at one point. Gordon creeping as far forward as he's been in a long time to 14th place. Scott Riggs, I talked to his crew chief Rodney Childers about that smoke we saw from the 10 car a while ago. The car was just grinding part of the lower left corner of that front valence. The orange stripe you see on the car, Rodney said it's no big deal. Dave?
Scott Wimmer's been running in the top 20 all night long, and on the last stop, his only complaint was that his temperatures were up a little bit. They cleaned a lot of rubber off that front grille, made no chassis adjustments to Scott's car. Marty?
About 20 laps ago, Joe Nemechek came on the radio, Dad, said, man, I thought this car would tighten up when the sun went down. It hasn't. His car has stayed loose for most of the evening. They've been struggling with that. Ryan Newman behind him, his car too free. He came on the radio, told guys, the car is still horrible. He's one of those bubble guys trying to make the chase for the championship. Rusty Wallace, his teammate, has just passed him. He got the lucky dog earlier. Rusty's car a little loose as well. You see his hands working inside the windshield there, trying to hang on to the 2. Matt?
McMurray started the night 12 points out of the 10th position, but like a lot of guys, his car just too tight. They thought they had a handle on Fontana. Finished 4th here in February, but this is not the night he needed to keep his chance alive. We've got to spin.
Boris said brings out the caution.
Flat.
Well, left rear tire.
They're all flat.
That's true.
And we will have pit stops with 50 to go.
You know, that's right. With 50 to go, and some cars, if it goes green, can't make it 50 left.
And you're right at the part where you got to think about green, white, checkered.
Yeah, man, oh man, what a tough deal.
And this could be your last shot. I mean, if you're going to make any changes, this could be it.
Well, this plays in the 24's hand. I mean, they gather up that track position right now. He's in 14th. Like we said earlier, if there's one more yellow, they make the right adjustment.
That has been a very, very impressive comeback by Jeff Gordon.
Well, we talked about it on the Bank of America Countdown to Green. For Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, Jamie McMurray, these are more than just pit stops in a race. These could be the pit stops of the season. See what happened to Boris.
Same spot that Mike Bliss spun.
Must be an ice patch out there, don't you think?
That's just when you're jumping on the gas, you got the car fully loaded in the corner and you're picking up the throttle, and it's so easy to get sideways there.
Boris running 35th.
He's trying to get back to the pit area and not have the tires come apart and tear the fenders off, but he barely can stay in front of the pace car, who's running 65 miles per hour.
He's going to hustle it back there. And these drivers all talking to their crew chiefs right now about the changes they want to make to their cars. Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, Tony Stewart, Mark Martin, Casey Kane, the top 5. Gordon in the 14th spot. Newman back to 19th. Jamie McMurray 20th. Dale Jarrett 25th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. 29th.
Jeff Gordon is now 11th in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup, but he's only 5 points behind Ryan Newman. That 10th spot is going to go right to Richmond the last lap.
Here they come down pit road. Dave Burns.
Robbie Reiser says we should be able to make it from here. Greg Ebert is the fuel man. He is required to pack this car full of fuel. He'll put 2 cans in, and when the car drops flat after they change the left side tires, he'll hit it one more time to make sure it's topped off. No changes to the chassis. Marty.
Chad Cannell said pack this thing full of fuel. This is right on the edge of their window. Jimmy has been both tight and loose. They're going to make a wedge and air pressure adjustment for the 48 team. Matt.
Top of your screen, Mark Martin, the 6. Chassis adjustment. They have made headway on his loose condition. Still needed to make another adjustment. Allen.
We watched Jeff Gordon's pit stop on the lower left. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment in the left rear of the car as they continue to work at this machine to try and gain spots. Jeff came down pit road in 14th spot. Let's see if the crew can pick him up some as they exit pit road.
Look out there.
Oh, he did.
Picked up a lot of spots.
Casey Kane, that 9 car, lost several spots.
But he didn't get any damage. Let's take a look at the race off of pit road. There's Matt Kenseth again. Kyle Busch.
About the same as last time.
Carl Edwards.
Jimmy Johnson, Sterling Marlin.
That's Gordon on 8th. Yeah. Picked up
Casey Mears.
Kurt Busch. We'll sort out the running order and set the stage for the final 50 laps at California. Who's going to Richmond with a shot at the chase? We'll find out. Matt Kenseth, the race leader, trying to get himself into the chase for the Nextel Cup. He's an excellent driver with good equipment, but they have strong leadership and a very well bonded race team. Even when they have trouble, Robbie Reiser, the crew chief, comes down and explains to his guys, you cannot make mistakes like that. These guys stick together. They have good pit stops, they celebrate pit stops, and then they celebrate the win. These guys were out of the chase. They were out of contention 10 races ago. And right now, Matt Kenseth 9th in the race to the chase.
And Jeff Gordon is 10th. Ryan Newman is back to 11th. He's 6 points behind Gordon.
Final adjustments have been made if we stay green. Less than 50 to go at Fontana. Hang on tight, everybody. Single follow restart.
Jimmy Johnson underneath Carl Edwards. Right off the bat. Didn't make it.
Nope. Marty?
This has been a wild night for the 48 team, Bill. Obviously, they're securely in the championship. They hit the wall in lap 55, had a broken right front shock, thought he had a left front tire going down, got the caution that they needed on the last time. Jimmy said the car is very good. He apologized to the guys for hitting the wall, but he said, you'd be proud of me. I didn't lift when I hit the wall. I drove right through it. Alan?
Well, I just talked to Robbie Loomis, Jeff Gordon's crew chief. I asked him if they had enough fuel to make it to the finish. His response, good Lord willing. They're trying to hang on, stay somewhere around those cars they're racing with for a place in the chase, and see if they can sneak into the top 10 by the time the checkered flag waves.
We're going to find out right now who's got what. Because you have got to pick up the positions while the field is tightly bunched. That's Kurt Busch underneath Jeff Gordon.
And the 41 car, Casey Mears, has been fast all night. Right about the 97.
You know, well, he made a great point, BP. He said it's unbelievable the pace at night, how much faster it is than it was during the day. Kurt said his car very unpredictable. When he hits the gas, he wants to jump up the racetrack, sometimes as many as 2 lanes, and that's got to be a very uncomfortable feeling for a driver.
Especially when you're on the outside of that guy.
That's exactly right. You like Casey Mears' car tonight in his run, BP?
I do, yes. He is.
41 car.
When he made an unscheduled stop, got a lap down, and on one of the restarts started in front of the leader and just simply drove away from Tony Stewart. Look at that 10 car smoke those tires on the fender.
I think that's more than skirt rubber.
Yeah. It's Kyle Busch looking at the leader, Matt Kenseth.
And 2 laps ago, Kyle Busch ran his fastest lap of the night. He is fast in that 5 car.
Going back up to the high side. Ooh, a little loose right there. Coming out of turn 4.
All the folks in Ormond Beach, Florida, very happy for Alan Gustafson, the crew chief.
It's easy for you to say.
Yeah, I know it is. I struggled with that one. But I did want to give Alan some credit.
There you go.
Yeah, now he's working the low side. Boy, that 5 car works just about anywhere.
20-year-old Kyle Busch trying to pass former series champion Matt Kenseth for the lead in California, and he's got it. Dave Burns.
After the 17 car beat them off pit road, Kyle Busch radioed back to his crew. Hey, you guys know that 17 team is a team to beat every week. Don't worry about it. Crew chief Alan Gustafson radioed, you bet, BP, radioed back to his driver. Hey, we appreciate you making up for it on the track, buddy.
He's doing that.
Jimmy Johnson, Mark Martin in the 6, and Sterling Marlin, who has been there all night.
That's 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Kurt Busch is there in the 97.
Matt?
Bill, in practice, Mark Martin told me at the end of practice Friday night, whatever your car is doing, that's where it will be magnified. If you're loose, it'll really be loose. The 8 is smoking. Dale Earnhardt Jr. The engine's going up, Bill.
Off the pace, was running 30th. And if anyone believed that Junior still had a shot, Cinderella Man season and his chances at the chase right here, going up in smoke.
Oh, yeah. Well, that diesel finally did blow up.
Yeah, it did.
Doesn't look like there's any trash on the front or anything, but he did say earlier that he didn't like the way the engine felt or sounded and didn't think it was going to last.
Right to the garage. Matt?
I believe the term was a Sherman tank, and he said that he hoped it would go up big, smoke, and fire, but we didn't see any fire. But his championship chances have now ended for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the Bud guys.
See, there's a stream of oil following that 8 car. That's not a good sign.
See that oil coming out the back. So yeah, it blew big. You know, it's almost like these guys, it's almost like they're probably relieved, BP, because, okay, now they're out of it. They know they're out of it. You know, they've got 11 races now between now and the end of the year to try to get things turned around a little bit and come out next year smoking.
You know, that's the best thing about our playoff system. Sure, we've got 10 guys battling for the championship. We've got 33 other guys out there trying to win the race and get ready for the next year, like Junior.
Greg Biffle is 3rd in the championship standings, and I know you've talked to him, but he really gives credit to how hard they worked and raced last year, getting him the early 5 wins this season and making him so strong this season.
Never seen Junior just pull over and wow. Man, that was big time.
If you're going to blow it up, that's how to do it.
Yeah.
All right, now we don't have a problem with fuel. Oh, here's Junior. Give him a second.
Climbing out. I know you're down there, Marty. I heard you talking.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has climbed from the car, and you thought you had a problem, and it went big when it went.
Yeah, I had my motor was terrible, man, all night long, and I thought something might be wrong with it, but we just got beat down the straightaway real bad when it was half decent in the corner. Still didn't make up for what we lost on the straightaway. So I don't know, you know, it finally broke. Maybe I did run it hot in qualifying, but maybe that's kind of the result of what we have here. But real disappointed in how the motor performed up to that point anyway, so oh well.
Mathematically, the championship is over, Junior. How's that make you feel?
Championship's been over for at least 80 laps, man. Our car was horrible. Glad it's over with. Ready to go to Richmond. We tested there, and hopefully we can get a good run. We'll try to get some wins for this year's out. And I promise my fans that next year we'll be back in Victory Lane where they'll have something to cheer about.
Somewhat a sense of relief for Dale Earnhardt Jr. as the championship hopes are now over.
Just what you were talking about.
Well, yeah, because now that's one thing people aren't going to bother him about now. It's like, well, what about championships? What about championships? Well, you know what? You don't have to worry about championship. Now you just go out and race, and that's just one distraction you don't have.
Under caution here at the California Speedway, Kyle Busch trying to hold off Matt Kenseth and about 30 other guys. We'll see what happens when we come back to Fontana. And the field is coming to get the green this time. All right, everybody, here we go.
And the first 15 cars.
Green flag, green.
From 16th place, Casey Mears on back. Guys came in. But the guys up front did not.
And they're hard to pass.
Yes.
Even if you do have new tires.
Turn one, these cars will be approaching 200 miles per hour.
The 5 cars fast. He starts out front. This is what the first restart. He's been out front on the restart, so he may just check out.
Casey Kane with Ricky Rudd on his bumper. How about Casey, AB?
Well, a couple things about the 9 car here, Bill. First of all, Tommy Baldwin wanted Casey to pit on that last caution. The driver overruled. I guess he's got the steering wheel in his hand. Second thing, as you watch Tony Stewart trying to move to the front, is that Casey's car is good for about 25 laps, then falls off. We had a few more than 25 to go when we went to that restart.
Our pole sitter, Carl Edwards, goes by Tony Stewart, takes over that 3rd position.
Don't forget, he spun earlier.
Right. Don't forget, he was pretty fast earlier. Yes. Carl led 21 laps early in this race. And won last night. Alan?
Just talked to Carl Edwards crew chief Bob Osborne, Bill. What picture you're seeing now, free air in front of the 99 car, that's what they need to go fast. They couldn't go fast in traffic earlier because their car wouldn't perform well, and Bob didn't want to adjust it to drive well in traffic because then when they got out front, like with a chance to win the race, it wouldn't be as good as it needs to be. So they waited on it. Good pit stop, got him track position. Let's see what he can do.
I think we're going to see a lot of interesting stories play out in these final 32 laps.
Boy, we have Jeff Gordon. We talked about him being 10th. He's now back to 13th. Ryan Newman got by him, so it's now Newman 10th in the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup.
I'm surprised they didn't come in at last pit stop, the 24, Jeff Gordon. I mean, obviously the car's still not handling the way that it should. I figured they'd come in for one more adjustment.
And the guys behind them, just 3 spots did.
All of them.
Matt, what's up with Casey Mears?
Well, Bill, he took 2 tires in the last stop, had a great race car all night, but something is amiss. You can see him swerving back and forth. Something is amiss in the chassis, possibly broken sway bar. He's not sure, trying to feel it out.
It may be just 2 tires. Did you say he took 2 tires?
He's got something severely wrong with that car.
Well, he's doing that with this.
He is saying that he believes, you can see him swerving back and forth, broken sway bars, his diagnosis. Tough.
You're right, Matt. That is a tough break. We got a lot of people here cheering for him tonight. Still working to see if he can figure it out.
Tell you what, he better park. Casey Kane, that 9 car, goes by Mark Martin, takes over 6th.
See how long he can keep up that pace this time. Looking at Jimmy Johnson in the 48.
I tell you what, if he can stop with 25 laps to go, they couldn't beat him.
So that's what he's hoping for.
Yeah, right.
Jimmy Johnson, another team that has battled back from difficulties earlier in the race. Kane pulling up on the bumper of Johnson. Marty?
It's been a great homecoming for Jimmy Johnson after all the problems they've had. We saw him earlier go home and take us through San Diego. There's a group of his friends watching the race on the beach in San Diego, pulling for Jimmy now. And as Chad Knaus just told Jimmy, if we get out of here with a top 10, we're a happy bunch.
Well, this race is big for them because they're already in the chase, but they need momentum. Momentum going into New Hampshire in 2 weeks.
And his teammate, Jeff Gordon, something going on with the 24 car because he's falling back now to the 19th position. Alan, what's going on?
Well, Benny, some of these guys passing Jeff were guys that stopped and took tires under that last caution. Robbie Loomis was talking with Jeff on the radio. Basically, Jeff was watching his rearview mirror. If he saw the cars right behind him pit, he was going to pit. The first few cars behind him stayed out. Jeff stayed out, and they're probably regretting that now.
I'll guarantee you they're regretting that call.
Carl Edwards goes by Kenseth into the 2nd spot. He's a second behind Kyle Busch. Can he catch him?
Edwards won the Busch race here last night.
Fast as the leader.
Kyle Busch out front. We want to get in one more set of green flag commercials. We'll do that right here. Kyle Busch became NASCAR's youngest pole winner when he won the pole here in February. He could become the youngest Nextel Cup winner ever tonight. Kyle Busch out front, looking for his first Nextel Cup Series victory. Log on to NBCSports.com for previews and predictions on each Nextel Cup race by Benny Parsons. There's also analysis by Benny and Alan Bestwick on the hottest topics, including the upcoming chase for the Nextel Cup. It's all at NBCSports.com. Take a look at the championship standings as we close in on the 20 to go mark. Stewart, Johnson, Biffle, Wallace, all locked in. Martin's got a shot at locking in tonight. Same for Kurt Busch. The real race starts back there at 8th. Carl Edwards has really opened up some ground over Matt Kenseth now.
But Kenseth has gone from 11th to 9th. Newman back from 9th to 10th. And Jeff Gordon was in 10th.
Here are the guys. Here are the guys that are the chasers right now. McMurray 50 back. Gordon has dropped 62 behind. Elliott Sadler hanging on by a thread.
And behind Newman in 10th spot.
Let's check in on the chasers, starting with Allen and the 99 of Carl Edwards.
Well, no matter how the night comes out, from this point forward, it's been a tremendous rally for Carl Edwards. Bill, from down in 38th up to 2nd. He just called into his crew chief, said the car is tight in the center, means he doesn't have the front end grip he needs to cut in the corner. The crew said, just take care of it, we're okay. Dave?
Last week, Matt Kenseth broke a 56-win winless drought by winning at Bristol. Tonight, they're running extremely well, and that's good because they tested at Richmond last Monday and Tuesday. They didn't have a very good test. He needs to make his mark here.
Dave, we saw the championship standings just a moment ago, and as of now, Ryan Newman is in. He fell back as far as 30th at one point tonight, describing his car as horrible. On this most recent run, he says the car much better, but loose. Matt?
Jamie McMurray, he has lost the handle. They've tried to tweak the car. It is still bad tight. You saw the standings. 50 points out of the chase at this juncture, hoping that they can get a good run here to go into Richmond and not have to have a solid run there, Dave, but it's not looking good.
Kevin Harvick's crew has been working hard all night to try to figure out why this car is so loose. In fact, they at one point put the tires slated for the front of the car on the rear and the tires slated for the rear on the front to see if it would help, and it hasn't.
Dave, Elliott Sadler running back in the 23rd position. Now, he made a second pit stop earlier in the race, lost a lot of track position, added a spring rubber. The car extremely loose, not able to tighten it up.
The 88 car of Dale Jarrett made a pit stop the last time. They made a pit stop before that. They've made a lot of stops tonight. This brand new race car for them just will not handle. They've been up and down on the track bar. It's been loose. It's been tight. It's been all over the place. A lot to handle tonight for DJ. Alan?
Well, earlier this afternoon before the race started, Robbie Loomis, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, told me that because this close race to the chase is so important, the pressure was on the crew chief to make exactly the right strategy call at the end of the race. They made the call not to pit on the last caution. Jeff has slipped from 13th back to 28th. They need a yellow flag badly. Jeff wants to get these tires off that race car.
Thanks, guys. It might be too late for the 24 now.
Yeah,
even if the caution came out.
They're in trouble right now. Big trouble. Because even if they got in and changed tires, they have no track position whatsoever.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 32 Tide ride alongside of Gordon. Jeremy Mayfield right behind him.
He's all over the place.
Yes, he is.
And he doesn't want anybody on his rear bumper. I'll guarantee you that if he's loose.
No. He wants that 19 car someplace else behind, besides being behind him. Because when the car pull up behind you, it does loosen you up a great deal.
Gordon has slipped from 10th in the standings to 12th. 59 out of the last chase position. You're not missing anything up front. Kyle Busch by 3 seconds over Kenseth and Carl Edwards. Tony Stewart in the 20 car, looking inside of Edwards.
Started to come back. Tony Stewart
drives in behind him. Alan?
I just talked to Greg Zipadelli before that last restart, Bill. He told me they adjusted their car for the longer run. Because the cautions had been regularly spaced earlier, they compensated back the other way, but they figured they were set for green to the finish from that last restart, so he expects to be faster than some of these guys around him the closer we get to the checkers.
Good timing on that.
Worked on Carl Edwards, that's for sure.
Passed him and pulling away.
That was a perfect pass, too. We talked, I was saying earlier, you have to really have a lot of momentum and actually slide up in front of the guy that you're passing just coming off a 4, and Stewart did it perfect.
You know, we talked about Jeff Gordon just a moment ago and not wanting someone behind him. I think we can go inside our Home Depot virtual garage and show you more about what we're talking about when what happens when someone does pull up behind you. Just like that. The 9 car behind the 99. If the car's the least bit loose at all, that will disturb you. And you see the 41 car, Casey Mears, on the apron. He had been in the pit area for several laps trying to figure out what their problem was.
He'd been warned by NASCAR to pick up his speed on the track. Alan?
Well, Bill, we're still inside that 25-lap window from the last restart where Casey Kane was going to have all of his speed. The problem for them is going to be that this race went green with 35 laps to go. When they get down to these next 10 laps or so, we'll see if they've made it better or if they slip back a little bit in the closing miles.
Did you see the 99 car on the apron? I mean, when he goes down the corner, and normally your car's tight if you drive down on the apron. If you drive down on the apron like here in 1 and 2, it'll loosen your car up big time. He's right there, but boy, 3 and 4, he was on the apron.
Evidently, his car is tight, and he's trying some way to get it to turn a little bit, to loosen it up some.
That'll do it.
Alan? Carl Edwards is reporting a loose condition.
Really?
BP. Needs back end grip. Yeah.
Huh.
I'll tell you what, if he can drive on the apron and be loose, he's my hero.
13 to go. Everybody chasing Kyle Busch.
This is where the spotter, it's Jeff Dickerson, the Kyle Busch's spotter. This is where the spotter's really got to be talking to the driver and trying to keep his composure. Because, man, you're looking up at that scoreboard. You only know, you have just a few more laps to go. You don't want to make a mistake here.
Yeah, that's right. Jeff Dickerson is the spotter.
12 to go. Kyle Busch from neighboring Nevada. Younger brother of reigning series champion Kurt Busch. 20 years old.
Oh, man. Amazing.
Oh, boy, he's run good this year.
Brian Vickers in the 25. And Mark Martin. That's for 6th. Martin had it. Vickers took it. Allen.
Hey, Bill, Brian Vickers' crew chief Lance McGrew is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He has had several friends who had to evacuate from the New Orleans area this week. He reports they all got out ahead of the storm. They're all safe. None know what they'll be going home to when the floodwaters recede. Lance said he's exceedingly proud of the relief effort that the NASCAR community is getting behind and hopes that all the race fans will do the same.
And you can go to NASCAR.com, click on the hurricane relief link, and make your pledge. Help out those people in the Gulf Coast.
It's like something sitting out in the racetrack back there.
What's going on with Ryan? Marty, what's going on with Ryan Newman? He's losing spot after spot.
Ryan is very frustrated on the radio, BP, and there's a caution on the racetrack. Boy, this will help Jeff Gordon.
Caution is for debris. What'd you see back there?
I saw something sitting on the racetrack. That.
Well,
it wasn't the duck.
No.
Oh, now what do you do? Now what is that?
If you're, oh boy.
Kyle Busch has to stay out.
Yeah, Gordon's got to come in.
4 tires on it. You want to free it up?
He's got to make a run here, but he's got
a little bit.
He's 29th.
There's no track position. I mean, whatever he can get, he can get. All he's got to do, what he's got to concentrate on doing is get in front of Newman.
Right.
Don't worry about everybody else. You got to beat Newman.
Right now he's 10 spots behind. But Ryan Newman, I think he's going to pit.
I agree. I believe he will too. And what does Newman have to do?
Just pressure the tire up all the way around.
It's beat Gordon.
Marty, what did you say was wrong with the 12th car?
His car's been extremely loose, and he's been very frustrated, BP, with a spotter. Openly frustrated on the radio, telling him he's not clearing him enough. And Ryan's been upset about that all evening, and it's continued into the night here.
All right, here, all cars are coming on pit. All cars. No, now somebody's going to stay out.
Yep, they sure are.
Somebody surely will stay out. Surely somebody.
Now if I'm Jeff Gordon, now I stay out.
No, I won't.
No?
10 laps, you'll get past about every car in the field if they come in and put tires on.
Dave Burns.
Kyle Busch said he had to pit. I swear there's something wrong with this thing. So they'll take on 4 tires. Matt Kenseth decided to pit as well. Take on 2 tires on the 5.
Ryan Newman is one of those bubble guys. We've talked about it. His car extremely loose. Air pressure adjustments on all 4 tires. Trying to tighten up this 12 car, Matt.
The 6 of Mark Martin going for a 4-tire change chassis adjustment. Still trying to tighten him up. His teammate Greg Biffle took 2 tires. He's already way out.
Jeff Gordon is in. They've made a chassis adjustment in the left rear corner of the car already. Going to take 4 tires. Gordon and fallen back to 29th place. They've got nothing to lose. We'll just see how much time they have to make up the ground.
Boy, I hope that 2-tire stop doesn't bite Kyle Busch in that 5 car.
Wow. Take a look at the race off of pit road.
He took 2.
Biffle,
he took 2.
2. No doubt he took 2.
Ricky Rudd.
2.
Carl Edwards took 2.
I guess the 15 is 2. 17, I don't know.
He had to take 4, as good as those guys are.
42, probably 2. Tony Stewart.
We'll get in a break, come right back to California. The field is coming out of turn 4 to get the green flag. A handful of strategies playing out here. Some 2-tire and 4-tire stops. Robbie Gordon, the race leader, and Jeff Green in second, did not stop.
Well, he'll get past rather quickly, and so will Jeff Green. Kyle Busch got a good restart right here, but he's only taken 2 tires, so he needs a good restart. He needs to get out as far as he can before these guys, before tires start hooking up.
7 laps to go. Kyle Busch around Robbie Gordon for the lead.
He did exactly what he needed to do, Kyle Busch, in that 5 car.
He has led 84 laps tonight, chasing his first Nextel Cup win, Dave.
And all that clean air he's got, it may be a stroke of good fortune that there was a mistake on pit road. They had intended to take 4 tires. When Kyle pitted, he got too close to the wall. Crew Chief Alan Gustafson said, I had to send you out with 2 because we wouldn't have been able to get the jack in the left side.
How about that Brian Vickers going for 2nd spot on the inside, the 25 of Biffle. Couldn't quite make it.
And that's what Kyle Busch needs right now, is he needs somebody to be racing that 16 car so he can get away even further, because the guys on 4 tires are going to be coming in a hurry.
Matt Kenseth in the 17 on the inside.
Man, look at these cars on the back. That's Kurt Busch below the line on the inside of Michael Waltrip. Takes a spot away.
Oh, Mark Martin slams the door.
Man, this is a wreck looking for a place to happen.
5 to go.
Jeff Gordon last time by, 27th. Ryan Newman, 21st.
Well, something's going to happen.
This is basically a shootout right now. I mean, you've got to get everything you can in these next 5 laps. They make a big difference going into Richmond.
Sure will. Speeds at the line.
Matt Kenseth, the quickest car that time.
That's 4 tires, so that shouldn't be too surprising.
But not enough to make up the distance between himself and Kyle Busch in the 5.
Right behind Brian Vickers right now. Caution is out. Scott Riggs.
22, is that Wimmer?
Dale Jarrett. That was Wimmer, you're right.
Looked like the 88, didn't it?
Yeah, it did look like the 88 when he went in there, but it was Scott Wimmer, Caterpillar car.
And this is, you know, not surprising with guys taking no tires, guys taking 2 tires, guys taking 4 tires. It normally happens.
Well, that's the break that Matt Kenseth needed.
And you
not
think
the break Kyle Busch needed?
No.
You think we had a shootout before? We really got one now.
Yeah.
You see the 10 car on Sterling and Marlin on the inside. Some contact between Sterling.
Takes Robbie Gordon with him.
Like Jeff Burton also in the wall. Wasn't that Jeff Burton?
Looked like it.
There we see Sterling coming up the hill, making some contact.
Sterling just slid up the racetrack and got into the left rear of Scott Riggs in the 10 car. That's what started all this.
Oh, that's hard contact by Robbie Gordon. And that was Jeff Burton at 31.
Sure was. See Gordon Jarrett go down on the apron to avoid hitting anybody.
There we see Burton at 31 making contact with the right front.
Let's ride along with Jeff Burton here for a second.
Not a whole lot you could do right there.
I don't think he's very happy.
No. Now we're going to go overtime, no doubt. I don't think they can clean this mess up in 3 laps. So,
well, last night they set off the fireworks on the white flag lap.
Here they set off the fireworks with 3 laps to go, didn't they?
Yeah.
Or 4 laps.
And there are still some fireworks to come.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch, the race leader, took 2 tires on his last stop. Dave?
Alan Gustafson now. I'm told you didn't intend to take just 2 tires there, but it looks like a pretty good move now, right?
No, we had to ad-lib a little bit there. We got a little hot in the box, and we're a little close to pit wall, so we had to make an adjustment there. But that's going to work out for us on the Kellogg Chevrolet. Just real proud of Kyle, all these guys. It's been a real good car all night long, and feel good about it. We listen. Caution, tape ball, wrecking, you know, we wish we could get that stuff out of the way. But regardless, the Kellogg Chevrolet's been awesome. Proud of everybody, Henry Motorsports, proud of all these guys on the 525, and we're going to give them all we got.
After the caution came out and Kyle said, oh, on the radio, he said, reminds me of Richmond last year. Right before my first Busch win, I've got Biffle behind me. Car owner Rick Hendrick radioed back. You beat him that night, you're going to beat him tonight.
It's Rick in the black hat. Trying to get his young driver to victory lane, 20-year-old Kyle Busch. Watched his brother win the NASCAR Cup Championship last season.
He is one worried guy right now because he knows he's sitting there on 2 tires. He knows there's cars behind him that are on 4 tires. That starts working on your head, and you're just trying to really stay focused in that car right now. And he knows that he's got to get a great restart, not make any mistakes, but he is worried.
Well, you'll get one more shot at it. We'll see what happens. Can Kyle Busch win, or will somebody catch him from behind? Take a break, come right back to California. You're watching NASCAR live on NBC. Well, the next 2 green flag laps could be 2 of the most critical of the season, and here's why. Take a look at the championship standings. With 2 laps and 1 race to go before the cutoff in the chase for the Nextel Cup, Jamie McMurray and Matt Kenseth have worked their way into the top 10.
McMurray currently runs in the 7th position. We see he has an 8-point advantage over Ryan Newman, who's in 11th, and Jeff Gordon 34 behind Jamie McMurray. Elliott Sadler just 56 back.
The maximum amount of points you can gain in one race, 156. Dale Earnhardt Jr., his engine expired. Went up big time, as they said. The thin hopes he had gone. Matt?
Bill, back in February, Doug Richards' car went to victory lane. You've got another shot. He was 16th at one point, 2 tires. You've got your man in position. Does he have enough car to get around the 5?
Well, he said the 5 car was pretty loose right there off of 2 on that last green flag run. So, you know, we've had an emotional roller coaster tonight. We've been good, we've been bad. Now we're back in position, you know, to have a good finish. But more important, just for this National Guard Ford, all the troops that's out there deployed and having to go to Louisiana. These guys just got back from Iraq, and they hopped right back in a plane and off to Louisiana to help those folks there. So I tell you, the National Guard, having those guys behind us in our country right now is awesome, feeling to be supporting. We hope we can pull something out for the troops right here. Hey, this one's for you guys. Pull hard, buddy.
Hoping to sweep Fontana 2005, Alan.
This is Lance McGrew, crew chief for 3rd place, Brian Vickers. Is this an offensive restart or a defensive restart for you?
Well, they're all offensive. I'll tell you what, I can't say enough about the Dytek Chevrolet tonight. The guys have done an awesome job in the pits. And we're cutting it right to the very edge on gas mileage. But I tell you what, it's been hard for me to get into the race tonight because I'm a native of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I know what all the people are going through down there and from Hurricane Katrina, and I just want everybody to know they're my thoughts and prayers. And I tell you what, it's good to see everybody come together and give some aid to that community.
All right, Lance, thanks. We agree. Dave?
Robbie Reiser now. Robbie, your car has not been as fast as a 5 all night. Will the 4 tires make up the difference?
Well, that's why we got him on there. You know, the only way we're going to be able to beat him was put 4 tires on it, so that's what we did, and hope for the best here.
All right, they'll hang on for these last few laps. Going to be good, guys.
You betcha, Dave. So Kyle Busch on 2 tires. Biffle and Vickers in 2nd and 3rd on 2 tires. Matt Kenseth on 4. Tony Stewart on 4.
They're going to take the green flag on lap 252. If they go 2 laps, it's going to, which they will, it's a 254. You know, somebody just might run out of fuel.
Yes, I mean, more than one somebody.
More than one. And if the caution flag should come out, once the green flag is displayed, if the caution flag does come out, the race is over.
NASCAR makes one attempt to give the fans a green flag finish. So the Green will come out, then the white, then the checkered flag. If at any time during those 2 laps the caution comes out, the race is over.
Now, you know, Biffle was commenting that the 5-car of Kyle Busch was loose off of 2. So what do you think Biffle's going to do off of turn 2?
Be on his bumper.
He's going to try to get right on the tail of that 5-car, even make him more loose, so he has to check up and he can get the spot.
All right, all you here.
That's right. It's all you, Kyle.
20-year-old guy on a big restart, looking for his first win.
Green flag.
Boy, they were really spread out there.
A good start, though. Got 4 or 5 car lengths in between him and Biffle right now.
Tony Stewart on the inside of Matt Kenseth trying to take away a spot. Couldn't make it.
Down the backstretch. Vickers blocking Kenseth. Matt dives to the inside. He's got those 4 tires, wants by that 25.
Here comes a 99 car.
Up on the outside of Stewart, gets a spot.
Last lap.
One more, Daddy, one more.
Edwards on the outside of Kenseth. Whoa, he got that thing hung out.
And those points will hurt Matt trying to make the chase.
He's going to lose another spot to Tony Stewart.
Through turns 3 and 4. Tomorrow the headlines will say Busch won at California.
Here it is.
But it'll be Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch wins at California.
Yeah, get it, get it, get it. Your 6th Pro Cup winner by 4 days, Kyle Busch, baby. Yeah.
Kyle Busch is the youngest winner in the history of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series by 4 days. Donald Thomas won at Lakeland Speedway in Georgia. He was 20 years old, 4 months and 6 days. Busch is 20 years, 4 months and 2 days.
That's pretty awesome. At least the fireworks was on cue tonight.
I kind of liked it last night.
Dave Burns.
You talked about Kyle Busch being 20 years old. Here's his young crew chief, Alan Gustafson. What about that run for Kyle?
Unbelievable, unbelievable. I just got to thank everybody at Kellogg's, Hendrick Motorsports, all that 525 team. Awesome effort, you know. It's a team effort. Kyle Busch drove his heart out. CarQuest, GMAC, Delphi, everybody supported us. Long time coming. We really wanted to get Kyle that youngest winner record, and we just barely got it, so we feel good.
All right, go celebrate. Alan runs across the wall with the rest of his team. Kyle's out there doing donuts, Bill.
Thank you, David. Chevrolet congratulates Kyle Busch and the 5 team on today's win in their Monte Carlo. The defending manufacturer's champion takes win number 569 overall. Chevy, the revolution races on.
He's not on fire, is he?
Let's take a quick look at the championship standings. 1 race remains before the cutoff in the chase for the Nextel Cup. That's next Saturday night at Richmond. You'll see it live on TNT.
So Mark Martin is in.
Kurt Busch is in.
Jeremy Mayfield. He looks like he's going to have a really good shot. Carl Edwards gained some points. Kenseth went to 9th, and McMurray is in 10th by 1 point. Wow.
Ryan Newman on the outside looking in by 1 point. Jeff Gordon 30 back. Elliott Sadler stays alive. 52 back. It would be very difficult for Jarrett, Harvick, or Nemechek.
It's between Kenseth McMurray, Jeff Gordon,
Ryan Newman.
Man, Marty.
It was a frustrating night for Ryan Newman. The car didn't handle the way he wanted it to. He's going to climb out of the 12 car and talk about his night here at California. I know that wasn't the night you wanted, Ryan, and you will now have to race your way in next week at Richmond. You're out by 1 point only.
That's okay. We got what we got right now, and we had a good test at Richmond. Unfortunately, the Sony Dodge didn't run as well as we wanted it to, but good effort. We're still alive. Got our head just barely below water, but we got time to pick it back up and get a breath of fresh air.
Matt?
And Jeff Gordon climbs out of his car. Jeff, unofficially, you've dropped to 12, 30 points out of 10th. You did want to have to go into Richmond to try to win and race your way in. So that's what you're going to have to do.
Yeah, you know, we just haven't performed this year, and we sucked today. That was just pathetic, and I want to congratulate Kyle. What an awesome job. Really proud of those guys. They deserve it. They've been running good, and we haven't, so that's why we're where we're at, and we'll go to Richmond and see what we can do.
Is that probably one of the best places for you to go to try to have to race your way in, looking at your past history?
Who cares where we go? It doesn't matter right now. Yeah, everywhere we go, we stink or we're good. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't go into it with any expectations. Certainly what we've done in the past doesn't mean anything right now. You know, we had a good test there. I thought we had a great car going in tonight, and obviously that wasn't the case, so why should I be the one predicting what's going to happen in Richmond?
We'll see you next week. Jeff Gordon have to race his way in next week, Dave.
Greg Biffle finished third last week, second this week. Greg, how important is it for you guys to run so well now that you're solidly in the chase?
Well, it's really important. We wanted to win here tonight, and just Kyle got a great restart there, and congratulations to Kyle Busch and that whole Hendricks team. Those guys have been, you know, coming on a win for a long time, and it's exciting for your first win, and you know, just a great job by the guys in the pits. You know, we put spring rubbers in, adjusted the heck out of that race car tonight, and tight to loose to just can't drive it, but just thoughts and prayers with everybody in the Gulf Coast and all the National Guard folks down there helping everybody, and I know there's a lot of soldiers called to duty to go down there, and we're just thinking about all of them.
All right, Greg came up just a bit short tonight. Someone who did not is standing by with Alan.
And as he gets unstrapped from the car, Big Brother is leaning in the window, sharing a congratulatory thought.
Proud of you, buddy.
And stepping back to let young brother Kyle have his moment in the spotlight as he has scored his first NASCAR NEXTEL Cup Series win tonight here in California. We heard from Kyle earlier in the evening about the frustration at being so close to winning and not being able to just find a way to victory lane. He's here now. It's Rick Hendrick, the team owner. Kyle, we talked earlier this weekend about the frustration at not quite being able to get that first win. You've gotten it now. What are your thoughts?
It's unbelievable. You know, for how much joy we're able to share here for a first NEXTEL Cup win, I still want to be able to dedicate it to all those folks down in Louisiana and Mississippi. I mean, it's a terrible devastation that they've had to go through. And hey, Mr. H, hey.
Calling for Rick Hendrick.
We're going to donate your share and my share of these winnings to the Red Cross for the foundation down there.
Absolutely.
There you go. So I saw Carl Edwards do that last night. I thought that was a first-class act, and we want to do the same. That's awesome. So I can't say enough about the chassis shop, body shop, everybody from sweeping floors all the way up to Mr. H. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Everybody takes so much effort to get here, and we finally got here.
Were you concerned when they called you down pit road for tires on that last caution, looking around trying to see what other people were doing? Did you know what was going on in the car?
They were actually saying stay out. Alan was saying stay out, and I thought I ran over something, and the right front was getting softer in the late going, and my nerves were just getting to me. I hope my grandma's sitting down now, because I know hers are getting to her, but still, I mean, it was, you know, we came down pit road there, and everybody else followed us, and I was like, cool, you know, this is going to be all right. And then I slid through the box a little bit and got too close to the wall, and Alan made an awesome call there right in the mid pit stop and called for 2 tires, and that was it. That's exactly what got us that win today.
Congratulations.
Thanks, that's awesome. Appreciate it.
Kyle Busch, a first-time NEXTEL Cup Series winner.
Brian Vickers there to congratulate him. Take a look at the unofficial results from tonight's race. Kyle Busch.
Greg Biffle, all the guys on the right with a green arrow, they have led a lap. Kyle Busch led the most laps tonight.
95 of them.
And Jamie McMurray back in 8th spot. What a great comeback.
Kurt Busch finishing 12th. Kurt clinches by starting the race at Richmond, just to clarify that. So when he takes the green flag next week, Kurt will be locked into the chase for the Nextel Cup.
Ryan Newman back in 18th. 1 point out. There's Jeff Gordon, 21st.
Jeremy Mayfield clinches next week if he finishes 39th or better. So he's got a pretty good shot at it. And as you look at the rest of the results, 8th through 13th separated by just 62 points in the championship standings. So there you have it. One more look at the championship standings. One race to go before the cutoff. It's next Saturday night at Richmond.